as he and President Trump had it out with each other after Pence told him that he couldn't overturn the results of the presidential election.
The president became very irate on the phone. He said that if that was true, that he made a mistake 5 years ago.
Pence says Trump was reckless the day of the Capitol riots. Andrew Baldwin of the law firm Baldwin, Perry & Kamish is the court-appointed attorney for Delphi double murder suspect Richard Allen. He had asked for a public defender last week. An announcement coming tonight from Indy Mayor Joe Hogsett. He's likely to clear up whether or not he plans to run for another term as mayor. That announcement coming at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Police in Muncie investigating after a 4-year-old was fatally shot Monday. Harrison Silcox.
Muncie police were called to a home off South Burlington Drive just after noon Monday when they found the 4-year-old boy who had been shot. They were rushed to a hospital where they later died. 22-year-old Alicia Smith and her 19-year-old boyfriend Joseph Jackson were arrested Monday evening. They face a preliminary charge of neglect of a dependent resulting in death. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Housing has been an issue downtown with 96% of available homes taken, according to the city leaders. Well, they're looking to try and help by paying for a plan to redevelop the old Jail 2 building into new living spaces and retail.
For us, this was an opportunity to take an old historic building at what its bones are and reimagine it. And so the importance of it as well is that it's right at a front door to our city.
Jeremy Stevenson talking to Wish TV. He's working for one of the developers. The city has advanced plans to create a TIF bond to help pay for it, but it still needs full approval from the City-County Council. The Purdue Boilermakers take on Marquette tonight as part of the Gavitt Games. Tip-off at 8:30 Eastern inside Mackey Arena. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
Sutherland Avenue still closed from Dr. Andrew J. Brown to East 38th Street. That's because of a broken water main. The street is flooded. They're out making repairs. Crash with a box truck, 30th at Ritter and inbound 69 stop and go 96th Street down to 465. Traffic sponsored by FMCSA. ShareTheRoadSafety.gov. Everyone can help keep our roads safe when making a wide turn at a bus. Still remember to be careful. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov. Paid for by FMCSA. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
Hi, George Faber here from B Window. It's that time of year again when we focus on keeping our crews busy, and we offer unbelievably huge savings on all of our products. It's our employee discount Black Friday sale with savings of up to 52%, plus manufacturer's winter discounts and no payments, no interest for 18 months. Wow! Go to bwindow.com for all the details.
That's Faber's B Window. Trust me.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next-day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep plus Next Day Energy with melatonin plus extended release B vitamins.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Scattered rain and snow showers today. Accumulation less than an inch, a high of around 38. We'll see a chance of showers late tonight, a low down to 30. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Not a lot of it sticking right now, but there's still some light snow showers on radar. It is 36 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Tony Kennett from Chalkboard Review back in. And Tony, breaking news yesterday. It took a while. Took longer than expected, but it appears now even NBC has said the Republicans will win. the U.S. House of Representatives. Right now, they have them at 220. It looks like if you go over to Politico, based on the races that are out, still it could be 221. But hey, to quote the famous line from Mr. Mom, 220, 221, whatever it takes, they're going to have the House of Representatives.
I mean, I'm just amazed that despite their best efforts, they are going to barely cross over the line, which is really great because, again, if you go back to Kevin McCarthy's victory night speech, he's like, we did it. We took back the House. And everyone was like, dude, what are you on? Like, we barely took back the House. We can't even get the Senate. We put together garbage candidates. Everyone was plastered in that room full of sad Republicans. and here we are. We're going to pretend that barely taking back the House was a victory. All right. Yippee.
Well, and we talked about this for 6 months, and I thought it was a big deal at the time, and it never picked up any steam in the sense of there was no vision from this Republican Party. There was no elect us and we will. And you can say it's fair, you can say it's unfair, you can cry about it, you can whatever. The reality is Republicans are held to a higher standard than Democrats because they are not the party of Santa Claus. They are not the party of vote for us and we will give you, which is always what the Democrats are. Never, of course, admonishing or acknowledging, hey, we're destroying society in the process because something comes from somewhere. But the reality is the Republicans always have to, being held to a higher standard, tell you, elect us and we will, and here's how your life will be better. And there was nothing from either the House or Senate as a collective, a la the Contract of America with 1994. And as such, it is hard to create a national movement when you don't have a national vision, even though the party in power is horrific.
Right. Well, there are 4 core factions in the Republican Party, and I hear this a lot in kind of the interim backroom doors where all of the factions are arguing, but a lot of people think that there's just like the Trump Republicans, and then there's everyone else, and they're the establishment Republicans, and that's not the case. The establishmentarian Republicans are on their way out. They are all growing old and dying. They are not actually as powerful as they used to be. Their policies are wildly unpopular with American voters. You have Trump populists, they're the other fringe, that is not as huge a wing of the Republican Party as they were in 2016 and in 2018. And then you have traditional conservatives who are kind of taking the best from both of those worlds, the economy and low spending that the establishment pretends they are, even though they're not. And then the populism's focus on the culture war and the importance of societal issues. And then you have the libertarian faction of the Republican Party that just cries themselves to sleep every night because none of their ideals are really getting pushed forward, and really the only thing they have is the Second Amendment, which some Republicans step on as soon as they step into office. So it's a really weird split Republican Party at the moment. I'm hoping that there is going to be a shift in faction control in the speakers in the House, at least. I don't really see Mitch McConnell getting ousted from the Senate in his leadership position, as unfortunate as that is.
Well, let's talk about that real quick, because there is a new poll out, according to Breitbart. The poll was done by Civics, which shows Mitch McConnell with just a 7% favorability, while 81% view him unfavorably. Now, and this is going to make people mad because we're going to tell you the truth here instead of whatever the narrative is. The truth is, Mitch McConnell did far more to help Republicans this election cycle than Donald Trump did, just in terms of financial obligation. Yes, you can be mad that Mitch McConnell spent all that money in Alaska instead of Blake Masters. That's right. A total viable criticism of Mitch McConnell. And that money might have really helped Blake Masters. Okay. But other than that, in basically every state where there was an election, Mitch McConnell, and we're not even talking like just more money, but it was close. Like, we're talking 10 times in some cases the amount of money to help people like Herschel Walker or Laxalt in Nevada or Dolock, the guy in New Hampshire, or J.D. Vance in Ohio. Mitch McConnell did his part to try to help these Republicans in most cases. That doesn't remove the fact, though, that the guy is a total zero and nobody likes him.
He is a far more effective minority leader than a majority leader.
Yes, you're right.
And he's been pretty good at resisting the Biden administration's worst policies. And I say pretty good because sometimes he's, really crapped the bed, as it were, and especially in cases of Ukraine spending.
Well, you're right, and he handed him the green dream by him, along with the Duke of Spendingberg, that they handed them this CHIPS bill without forcing them to go through reconciliation on it, which enabled them to be able to pass the Green Dream through reconciliation because they didn't have to burn it earlier.
Right.
So I mean, look, nothing's going to change, right? McCarthy is going to find a way, and they're calling for delays in the House election as well until after the runoff. But McCarthy's going to be reelected. McCarthy is going to breeze to likely, I mean, he'll cut a deal with the Democrats if he has to. McConnell will still probably be the Republican leader because, again, there are a whole bunch of establishment Republicans. And by the way, all you people who said you're going to hold Todd Young accountable, remember there was all these people said, well, you're just wrong. We can't ever vote for the Libertarian. We got to elect him and then we'll hold him accountable. Well, you can start right now by flooding his office with phone calls saying, do not elect Mitch McConnell. We're going to be the accountability team here. Hold this guy accountable by saying, do not vote for Mitch McConnell, but he's going to vote for Mitch McConnell to be the majority leader.
There's this
or minority leader, rather.
There's this weird two-tier system that people don't often think about, that as soon as you get elected to some kind of a public office, especially some kind of a legislature, you get in and it's the first day in session, and then the leadership comes and says, okay, you're going to toe the party line. You're going to follow exactly what it is that we want you to do. Who cares about your constituents that voted to bring you here? Who cares about their concerns? You're going to vote what we want because it's in your best interest and it's in their best interest. And that happens in the Indiana State House, in both of our houses. That happens in it happens very openly in regard to the U.S. Senate and in the U.S. House. And I am not sure going forward how much the American voters are really going to toe that kind of a line if they're sending people just to receive their marching orders.
Let's take a break. By the way, Tony Kennett in today for Casey. When we come back, big news on the Biden 10K giveaway. Another judge, or another set of judges in this case, has stepped up and said, not so fast.
What a surprise.
And I want to ask Tony, because obviously education is your area of expertise, are these millennials or these Gen Zers or these 28 and unders who flooded out to vote for, or 30 and unders who flooded out to vote for Democrats?
They did not flood out to vote for Democrats.
I mean, the data shows it was plus 28. I mean, I don't know what you call that. I mean,
depending on the district, that it's wildly overblown. So the Examiner did a study that kind of contrasts that data with some other stuff.
Okay, well, let's hold that.
Chat about it.
Let's hold that too. We'll talk about that and more coming when we come back. It's Kendall and Casey Show.
Tony Katz.
When you start going down this idea that people you disagree with aren't human, the rhetoric, the dehumanization leads to disaster. It leads to violence. It leads to bloodshed. The people who want to scream anybody they disagree with is a Nazi, that's the dehumanizing, that's a real issue. I think everyone needs a bourbon and needs to calm down.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
The next time you visit your healthcare provider, we'll ask you about your race, ethnicity, and preferred language. Why do we ask? We ask because we care. Providing you with the highest level of care requires that we know all we can about you. Not only will this help us take better care of you, it will also help us learn more about our community and the additional services we can provide to keep Indiana as healthy as possible. This message is brought to you by Indiana University Health, Eskenazi Health, and Community Health Network.
Introducing Spectrum One. Get Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits per second. Advanced Wi-Fi with best-in-class security and privacy. Spectrum Mobile with unlimited talk, text, and data plus nationwide 5G. Get it all with Spectrum One. Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com or a Spectrum store today. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Mark Dietel, only real estate agent I trust to sell my house. Paul and Marcy in Indianapolis got married, and they were excited to start their new life together. They had an extra condo, and they needed to sell it quick. Mark knew how to get it done. He brilliantly marketed their house, got it sold in weeks over list price. Mark is definitely the best at what he does.
Listen, there are a lot of people in the real estate game, but there's only one agent that we recommend and trust on the Hammer and Nigel show. There's only one agent that has the guarantee that if he doesn't get an offer in 3 days or less at full market value for your home, he will list it for free. That man is Mark Dietel. Call Mark Dietel today, 317-755-4232 or go to markdeedle.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdeedle.com. Ask about the guarantee and tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly. It's officially a buyer's market and home prices are dropping. Now is the perfect time to strike a deal that would have been unheard of a year ago. And don't let higher interest rates stop you from getting the home of your dreams. At thehomeloanexpert.com, we will refinance you with no fees anytime 6 months after your original closing. With home prices dropping and our new VIP refi program, now is the perfect time to buy a home. thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home a Kubota BX Series tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, plus save up to $700. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Fishers and Indianapolis to see their full line of Kubota, or visit them online at McAllisterKubota.com.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service? Do you need to find a well-trained dealer like Marshall Mechanical in Franklin? We'll find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
Sounds like a jackal from hell.
And Casey Daniels.
Oh, hot. Want to touch the hiney.
On 93 WIBC.
Oh, all those silly people who thought, vote for Biden. I'll get $10,000. Another group of judges has said, not so fast. 93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Kevins here. Tony Kennett from Chalkboard Review in for Casey today. So now we had one federal judge that has ruled the action by Biden a no-go in terms of the $10K giveaway for student loan debt.
Yep.
And now this time a group of judges, a unanimous 3-judge panel from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit Court has also said this was a lawsuit involving the states, has basically said, at least for the time being, no dice either. So now we have a judge and sets of judges, so 2 different courts basically saying this cannot go forward.
And it's important to remind listeners exactly what it is that Biden used as his rationale for providing this college debt forgiveness. So President Biden said that COVID-19 caused an emergency, and under the COVID-19 emergency protocol, remember the one he just extended, because he says college students were harmed the most by COVID in a time when payments for student loans was halted indefinitely, so they weren't paying money towards their student loans during that time. He says that they need financial assistance that caused them significant pain during COVID, and that's a direct quote from the president's office, which again doesn't actually make grammatical sense, but nothing from his office really makes grammatical sense. So it doesn't even make sense on the financial or the legal level either. And so all of these judges are going, no, there were no student loan payments even requested of students at the federal level during the COVID emergency.
Right. Because they suspended them.
They still haven't started back up yet.
Right.
So who actually has suffered financially related to student loans in relation to COVID? Like, there's no correlation even. It's the thinnest of thin cases.
And look, I will say this openly. I am cheering so hard against these people getting this money because this is such an insult to people like me who took extra years.
Why can't you just be happy, Rob? Why can't you just be happy for people getting forgiveness? Don't you like Jesus? Jesus forgave people, Rob.
I saw that somebody on Twitter.
Don't you just love people, Rob?
Somebody on Twitter came at that with me yesterday, and it is such an insult to every person such as myself who took years extra to get through college and paid cash because we said I'm going to make a financial decision to better myself. I'm not going to take on this debt. And there are sacrifices to that. I worked a full-time job and owned a business while I was going to school. I didn't get to go out a lot of times and have fun like my friends who took on the debt. There is a sacrifice. It's a trade-off. And you made the choice.
And as a sidebar anecdote as well, when I came down from Maranatha my third year over the summer, I had the opportunity to do several different internships, many of which were unpaid but would have provided a lot of really cool opportunities. And instead, I worked at Draper in Spiceland. I did. I worked in the factory and I put stuff together all day and I didn't have fun and I woke up at ungodly hours and I worked ungodly shifts and I made money to go to college. Was that special? Was that heroic? No, I was the one who wanted to go to college. So I did the work to make sure that I could go to college and not get saddled with debt. And now everyone else is just getting a free ride because they want the government's handouts. And you and I are the ones that are going to be paying for it. The plumber who didn't go to college, who went to trade school, is now shouldering the debt of some gender studies barista off of Mass Avenue. It's ridiculous.
Did you ever go to the gigantic candle factory there in Spiceland, right there off the Spiceland exit?
I think that's a little bit further down 70 and 40. That's not the warm candle glow place. I know what you're talking about.
That's good. I know that's good. He knows because he was giving me, if you can see this on the YouTube chat, this blank death stare.
I was just confused. Like, no, it's a little further than Spiceland, but no, I mean, there was a gas station I got chocolate covered pretzels at every morning because, college students and great breakfasts.
I just was glad that I wasn't not in some foreign dream or something when I went there that really did happen.
You Indianapolis people trying to connect with the rurals.
Real quick, we do have some audio. Let's go back in the time machine. Earlier this year, Nancy Pelosi telling everyone Joe Biden can't do this.
People think that the President of the United States, is this more on the subject than you ever want to know? Will you let me know? People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
Seems pretty cut and dry.
Oh, if you just, again, the entire theme of the Star Wars prequels is that the Chancellor, who's in charge of the whole galaxy, gets more and more emergency powers until one day he just declares himself a dictator. And here we have Biden, day after day, declaring more and more emergency powers. Oh, the COVID came and it took my dog. It's terrible. Got to forgive the debt. It's like, what? That doesn't even connect. Not even preschoolers drawing with crayons could connect those dots.
Real quick, too, if you are one of these young people who thought the Democrats really love me and they care about me and they're trying to help me and, I'm from the government, we're here to help. Here's what Kamala Harris actually thinks of young people in our society.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories, and they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
I agree with her.
She's not wrong. Yeah.
No, wholeheartedly.
My 18 to 24 years saw me eat stupid things, wear stupid things, say a lot of stupid things. She's not wrong. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Good for her.
And yet these people, even when it is just, there's no mixing that up, there's no doctoring that audio, they will still believe these people like me, they care about me. No, they used you. They used you to get your vote, and it was pretty successful, and I hope you're happy because now you get nothing.
There's a comment on the live stream saying that she sounds like a stand-up comedian. I'm picturing Kamala Harris as Jerry Seinfeld. 18 to 24-year-olds, what's the deal with that?
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, friend of the show, Pastor Micah Beckwith will join us. We're going to talk about something in your neck of the woods, which is how important it is for the Indiana General Assembly next year to finally make these school board races partisan.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that coming up next, 93 WIBC.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Today's forecast is a chiller.
Living room turning into an icebox? We'll be right there. And 1 hour heating and air conditioning? We're
always on time.
Call 855-1-HOUR or visit onehourheatandair.com. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
School buses are densely packed spaces with poor ventilation, making the school bus the weakest link in a school's efforts to reduce disease transmission. Go to schoolbusair.com to learn more.
When your health diagnosis isn't going according to plan, you likely seek a second opinion. It's time you treat your wealth the same way. Get a new perspective, new information, a new diagnosis for your investments. Get a second opinion from a wealth planner at Edelman Financial Engines. Our dedicated planners offer personalized advice and are ready to talk one-on-one. Our approach is backed by institutional rigor. We model over 38,000 securities monthly, so we can better stress test your portfolio through thousands of scenarios. So, take a deep breath and take care of your wealth like you take care of your health. Get your complimentary wealth checkup today, where you can discuss your financial plan with a wealth planner. Call Edelman Financial Engines at 888-899-4450. That's 888-899-4450. Or visit efewealthplanners.com.
All discounts on routine well and pump maintenance right now. Believe me, preventive maintenance works. Call C&J at 317-852-WELL or cjforwater.com.
PXG is now open in Indy, baby. Introducing PXG's newest retail store, PXG Indianapolis. Get fitted for hot new PXG golf clubs and our brand new state-of-the-art fitting bays. And shop PXG's off-the-hook apparel, hats, bags, all sorts of stuff. So come by our beautiful new PXG Indianapolis store, 6091 East 82nd Street. We'll be waiting for you. PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We've been in the same location with the same phone number for 27 years. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what in the heck do you have to lose? Call me at 317-435-1718 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-435-1718 or rragency.org. Don't let the federal government or their big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
You'll hear from him tonight. It's cloudy with some light snow sticking around on radar, 36 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Donald Trump is making an announcement tonight from his home in Mar-a-Lago. Fox's Eben Brown.
It is expected by many that the former president will make known and official his intent to seek a second term in the White House. Unlike other U.S. presidents in the past, Mr. Trump has not gone quietly, routinely criticizing Democrats and the currently serving President Joe Biden. The former president has caused a new division among Republicans since the party's expected big wins in last week's midterms failed to materialize. In Broward County, Florida, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Ukraine has picked up some key victories lately as President Volodymyr Zelensky continues to visit parts of the country that were once under Russian control this week. Now he speaks before the G20 summit virtually in Indonesia.
Russia must withdraw all its troops and armed formations from the territory of Ukraine. Ukraine's control over all sections of our state border with Russia must be restored.
Russian President Vladimir Putin did not attend the G20 this year, but Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is there, and he accuses Zelensky of being Russia-phobic. And now the stock report. We're in the green to start the day. The Dow is up 310 points to 33,871. The Nasdaq up 299 to 12,034. And the S&P 500 is up 63 to 4,029. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Well, I'm a orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief, using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it, and put it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Amen. Amen.
It's time to go to church. Here to preach to the choir from the bully pulpit, Pastor Micah Beckwith.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Tony Kennett's in for Casey today. Let's go to the drivehubler.com hotline, the conservative voice of America, of Indiana, of all the states and all the union. Pastor Micah Beckwith. Beckwith, how's it going?
Good. I just got a promotion, so now I'm over the entire United States now. Is that how it goes?
I have declared you the conservative voice of America.
That's a good one. I think Tucker Carlson's gonna fight you on that one, but you know we'll go with it.
Look, did Tucker Carlson get the Libertarian candidate for Secretary of State 35,000 votes? I don't think so.
Well, let's not forget about Rainwater. I think you got him 18 million. I can't remember exactly how many votes you got him in Indiana, but it seems like it goes up every time we talk about Donald Rainwater. But that was pretty good, 18 million.
Here's the deal, Beckwith. It doesn't make any difference in terms of who's screwing up the office, but it's a moral victory, and we'll take as many of those as we can when it comes to Libertarian public office candidates.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I'm right there with you. Listen, Jeff Maurer was a good candidate. I liked him a lot. And if the Libertarians keep putting up good candidates like that, I think they'll continue to take ground. And I think competition's a good thing. I'm a Republican. I believe in Republican principles, but I love the fact that the Libertarians are gaining ground and hopefully it'll keep the Republicans accountable, because a lot of people like you, Rob, are disenfranchised Republicans. I mean, it's not that you guys have changed in core principles. It's that you just have given up hope sometimes on the Republican Party. And I totally see why, but we need accountability for the Republicans, not abandonment of the Republican Party, but bringing in a strong Libertarian Party would, I think, make a stronger Republican Party too.
Now, you know what would reinstitute some hope for me and the Republicans is if you end up in the U.S. Congress and it looks like Mike Braun is sprinting towards announcement that he's going to run for governor, which likely means Victoria Spartz. I mean, she was in office for 2 years, so why not, is going for something else. And that means the 5th Congressional District would open up. And Beckwith, I can't think of anything that would make me more likely to come back into the Republican fold than you being on C-SPAN on the regular debating in the halls of Congress.
Listen, I have said over and over again, I'm a culture warrior. I feel you put me in the middle of that fight and I'm like a fish in water. So there, we're praying about it. And I would say it's definitely a strong possibility that we're leaning towards getting in that race. But, and then you coming back to the Republican Party only just sweetens the pot a little bit more.
No, that's exactly what all Republicans want, is me back in the tent.
Hey, I was talking to a legislator the other day and he was bemoaning you and kind of just he was saying, Rob's always he always gets it wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I said, listen, then go on his show and straighten him out. And he's like, I don't know about that. I said, Rob and WIBC have such a strong voice in Central Indiana. They can be your ally if you just work with them and instead of run away from them all the time. And so I really think that the Republicans are probably coming around to, all right, I think how can we, partner with Rob Kendall and WIBC even more, because you guys really do a great job of getting a conservative message out. And And listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm a Republican, and I will say Republicans aren't always conservative, and that's when I speak out against Republicans. But you guys are principled. You stay the course when it comes to conservatism. You don't always get it right on everything, but who does? And I would say, like, your voice though is strong, it's powerful, and you're pushing conservative core values, and that's what's really important.
Yeah, I mean, you think like, by the way, Micah Beckwith, our guest, you think I like supporting people who struggle to get 10%? No, I'd love to support the winning team, but you guys got to give me something to win with, right? I mean, it's a mutual relationship here. I'm not obligated to support you when you keep doing awful stuff. I don't think it's too much to say limited taxes, limited government, and I know you will back me up on this, Beckwith. I think the most important thing Republicans in the General Assembly should do next year is make these school board races partisan.
Amen to that. I have been beating that drum for the last 2.5, 3 years, because here's what's happening. The donut counties are going purple. So we see like places around Evansville or Lake County or Indianapolis, all those donut counties are starting to go purple. Here's how it's happening. I can tell you this because I've seen it firsthand. For the last 15 years, we have had woke Marxist educators who have come from Ivy League schools begin to indoctrinate the next generation. And now, for the last 10 years, those kids have been under their tutelage, and now they're voting in elections. Who do you think they're voting for? They're voting for the leftist Marxist candidates themselves. That's why we're losing these donut counties. And if the rest of the state doesn't wake up, it is going to be that way all over the state in about 10 years from now. Now, I literally heard Speaker Houston say at a fall dinner just a couple weeks ago, Rob, you were right there with us. You were there. We were down front, right? Very front table.
He totally went out of his way not to look at us the entire time. But yes, we were there in the front row.
And he said, I am all in on the school boards. Like, I'm all in on school boards. And so if that's true, then we have got to get the legislature to enact this partisan policy, this law that creates it so that every person running on a ballot has to declare Republican or Democrat when they're running for school board. That would clean things up in a matter of 2 to 4 years, and we would have strong schools again. We'd have good leadership again, and we would get all these liberal wokeists out of the school boards who hide under the banner of nonpartisanshipism. And they say, and here's what's going to happen. And now the legislators have to, man up, gird up your loins, if you will, and
because they are. And I know what you're going to say. Micah Beckwith is our guest. They are petrified of the red shirts, the angry teachers in the red shirts coming down there and yelling at them. And it's a very simple thing, isn't it, Micah, to say, look, we're going to treat the school board like we treat every other office in the state of Indiana. You can pick whatever team you want to be on. You have a right to be on the ballot based on that team if you win your primary. And why should school boards be treated any different? I have no idea why these people are so afraid of the red shirts, but it would be a great opportunity if, again, your legislative friends really want me back in the tent. There is nothing I'd rather go to the mat on than these partisan school board races. And I think we could get a cavalcade of people into the State House supporting that.
I agree with that. I mean, I talk to people all over the state of Indiana who cannot believe what they're seeing in their schools. Now, here's the inner working, the inner battle that the Republicans are going to have to fight. The rural communities right now, their legislators they don't have the prowess to go out and fight this battle right now because they don't see it as much, because it's not quite happening as thick as it is in the donut counties, which is understandable. I mean, you still have a lot of good God and country educators and teachers in these rural communities who love God, who love their families, who love the kids, and they're doing a great job. And so these legislators in these rural areas are like, well, it's not really happening too much in my area. Why do I need to be concerned with it? Because you will look like Fishers or HSC here in the next 10 years if you don't do something about it now. So we've got to put the pressure on them. So if you're listening to this and you have legislators in rural America, rural Indiana, make sure that you go to them and say, no, this is really important. You have to have a little bit of vision here. Look out past what past your nose. Look 10 years down the road, because it's coming, and we need to stop it now, or we're going to be Illinois in 10 years. Without a doubt, we will be Illinois in 10 years if we don't do this.
Yeah, and it's such a simple conversation. All you have to say is we're treating school board like every other office in the state of Indiana. Boom, we're done here. I'm going to put you in charge of making this happen, Micah, because you are liked by everyone, and I am loathed by everyone. So you get the ball rolling. We'll bring the hammer down. Let's maybe they'll name the bill after us.
That's right. Or maybe we'll get a Sagamore or something to that effect.
Well,
So,
hey,
I know where you're going.
no, it's fine. We had a friend that we thought was going to get elected, and we thought the Sagamore was in the bag for both of us, and well, he didn't get elected. So
he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's got a long future in politics, so he's not done yet. So
Micah Beckwith is our guest. Before I let you go, you told me leading into the election last week that everyone had to vote for Todd Young because you were going to hold him accountable. Then the conservatives are going to hold him accountable. So does this start? I mean, you guys with the holding accountable, you know Todd Young is itching to vote for Mitch McConnell to be the leader in the Senate. Is this where the holding accountable starts? Because I told you I'm out on the Todd Young equation. This is your problem now.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? We're all on the same ship. So it's like saying to the people on the deck of the Titanic, hey, I didn't want this guy driving the boat, so this is your problem now. You're still on the Titanic, man. I hate to break it to you.
Oh, so now it's my problem again. We didn't even get a week. You and I had a very clear agreement. You were going to the mat for Todd Young. I said, it's your problem now. Oh, Rob, you got to do your part.
No. I never said you weren't on the Titanic. What, were you on a little speedboat driving next? We're all on this together, Rob. Come on.
So once again, the problem you created becomes my problem for the next 6 years. I knew that was going to happen.
No. Here's what you do, though. I think everyone needs to reach out to Todd and say, Todd, we're done with McConnell. You got to jump over with Cruz and Rubio and the guys who are saying, hey, we can't keep electing the same leadership and expect different results. We've seen. Listen, I'll give McConnell credit where credit's due. He did a lot to get good judges on the bench. I love that about McConnell. I think he did a great job there. He was shrewd. He was smart on how that played out. I mean, we'd have Merrick Garland right now in the Supreme Court if it wasn't for McConnell. So give him credit where it's due. But his time is over. I mean, I think everyone in the party knows. I was talking to Christy Stutzman even yesterday, and she was just saying we have got to get McConnell out of leadership in the Senate. And McConnell was really He was really key in making sure Marlin didn't win that Senate race primary.
I was there.
And I know. And he didn't want Marlin because Marlin thinks for himself. And I'm not saying that, Todd Young's just a go-along to get along guy, but Todd is certainly much more
Yeah, no, he is a go-along to get along guy. That's the whole crux of the beef, is he just wants to be along.
Okay, I stand to maybe a little corrected there. Maybe he is a go along to get along guy, but this is where we got to call Todd and say, Todd, you got to abandon ship when it comes to McConnell. We need new leadership. I think if Todd is being honest, he would actually even agree with that. Now, again, Todd's a political animal. I mean, he's thinking about his leadership positions in the future of the Senate. But I think the writing's on the wall. McConnell's out. I mean, this is not gonna. You need to be a visionary. If you're a leader, you are the trailblazer. You don't follow, you lead. And so Todd Young needs to lead on this, and he needs to get with Ted Cruz and Rubio and the guys that are calling for new leadership. And that's really, we got to call Todd as his constituents and say, Todd, this is the course we need to take.
Real quick, before I let you go, got about 30 seconds. I have loved so much the last several weeks, either coming up to Life Church and watching you in person, and the Life Church community is fantastic, and watching the online service last week. And you let me know that you have seen a cavalcade of people saying, writing my name down on the contact form of why are you here?
Well, and we don't know if that's a good or bad thing. It's like, I know Rob Kendall, I have to get into church because it's destroying my mind.
But Life Church is awesome, man. I mean, you guys do such a great job. And man, I love the church community and what you guys do and how on fire for the Lord you guys are.
Well, thanks, man. It's been an honor to have you and your beautiful new bride with us up worshiping every Sunday. And it's really been, God's growing the church. And here's why. People ask, they say, what's the growth? What do you equate the growth to? It's because we boldly proclaim the truth of God's word. We don't care who knows it. We're not going to bow a knee to the cancel culture. If the cancel culture comes at us and says that's politically incorrect speech, you can't say it. We're going to say, go pound sand. This is what God's word says, and we're sticking to it. So that's why we're growing. People are hungry for the truth, and we're giving them truth.
Pastor Micah Beckwith, now just not the conservative voice of Indiana anymore. He is the conservative voice of the entire country. Thank you, my friend.
Hey, thanks, man. We'll talk to you later.
93 WIBC, it's the Kendall and Casey Show.
3 o'clock this afternoon on the Hammer and Nigel Show, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter in studio. We'll have a conversation about Delphi. 93 WIBC.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baird Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
Tickets on sale now for Christmas Nights of Lights at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Purchase online early to reserve your time slot. Their new colorful field of lights is a must-see. Christmas Nights of Lights is open nightly, including all holidays, November 11th through January 1st. Purchase tickets at ChristmasNightsOfLights.com.
At Landmark Recovery, we know that living life addicted to drugs or alcohol is isolating and empty, especially during the holidays. Do you really want to live life that way? Get help with your addiction to find a more fulfilling way to live life. Reconnect to who you really are and the people who love you most. Get addiction help with Landmark Recovery. Call 866-LANDMARK or visit landmarkrecovery.com today.
A story of first downs and second chances. Meet former pro football player Michael Robinson.
I wanted to keep playing, but my feet hurt.
And all those big league experts couldn't help?
You have access to anything, but none of it worked.
Finally, he got fitted with Good Feet arch supports.
Let me tell you something. They work.
Now, he recommends Good Feet to
anybody. If you move, go to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Come in for a free fitting, no appointment needed. The Good Feet store, in the north, near Keystone at the Crossing or in Greenwood.
You know what they're doing in Washington right now? They're talking about making cuts to your Social Security benefits. So the money you were counting on for retirement could end up being a lot less than you thought it would be. Hey, don't get shortchanged on Social Security. Don't do it. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. Bill knows Social Security like the back of his hand, and this customized analysis doesn't cost a dime. If you've saved at least $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis by calling 317-805-4716. 317-805-4716. That's 317-805-4716.
It's Pro Time, which means at Lowe's, you're invited to enjoy a Lowe's Pro Happy Hour. Kick back with free Pepsi Cola drinks and Frito-Lay snacks. Plus, earn 3 times bonus points per dollar on purchases of select Pepsi products. Come into Lowe's and get the full MVP treatment at Pro Happy Hour on November 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. While supplies last. Bonus points offer valid 10/27 through 12/8. Calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. See Lowes.com/L/pro loyalty terms.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Okay. We got to do a little public service announcement here. By the way, 93 WIBC, it's the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Kevin's here. Tony Kennett, Chalkboard Review, in for Casey. So we're going to get into this more next hour during the listener voicemails. But we've just got to do this as a public service to the community. If you write or correspond with this show in any fashion, I'm talking social media,
a text message, a phone call, a smoke signal of sorts,
email, phone calls, which we'll play some next hour, and you tell me you are done, or you're not listening anymore, or you're never coming back, we laugh at you.
That is true. It's even better if you call in and you say, I'm done. I'm not listening anymore. I await your response.
Yes, we will have one of those next hour. You are listening. You're going to continue to listen. You'll probably listen more than you ever have before, because there is no way that you are that much of a lunatic that offering critiques of a guy who once again wants to be president of the United States, who has epically failed in 2 elections in a row, drives you to the point where you won't listen anymore. So we don't take you serious. We laugh at you, and we will forever use you as a bit on this show. Have I made that clear to people going forward?
You have made it clear, and if I know you, you're probably going to take that recording of you just saying that and play it on the air for the next 15 days in a row until people get the message.
It's just, I can't. Your threat does not bother me. As though somebody goes, you know what'll get him? If I say I'm not going to listen anymore. That'll show him. No, you'll be listening. So coming up next hour, we'll have multiple phone calls, including one woman who it's more than one. She called back to let me know that she was not listening anymore. And then she awaits my response. How would you...
shoulder so cold it became hot.
Tony,
Always classic.
Tony, you are the educator in this group. How would you await someone's response if you aren't listening to hear the response?
If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, is the Pope still a Catholic? That's the question to be asked.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a question because Micah Beckwith, and I had this conversation just last segment. I maintain the number one thing that the Indiana General Assembly should do next year is to solve this crisis that we have. It's primarily in central Indiana right now, but it's coming to a county near you, which is these lunatic leftist people continuing to get elected to school boards, and that the number one way to solve the number one issue is to make those partisan elections.
I think so. I think that if someone wants to run and they want to have an R next to their name, they should be allowed to have one. If they want to run and they want to have a D next to their name, or an L, or an I, or a G, or a little tiny wing-ding picture of a donut, that's fine. You should get to run with that. And voters should be able to see at a glance what it is that you stand for, because as the way things currently stand, school board elections are not the easiest to get out there and to market about, tell people about what it is that you view beyond the buzzwords. I believe in academics. Great, congratulations. So does every other candidate saying that on the slate. Everyone does. You say, well, I care about kids. Great. Everyone says they care about kids. I'm looking for a little bit more than what you downloaded off of the Hallmark Channel this morning, Karen.
We got about 20 seconds left here. Why are Republicans so afraid of the teachers union? They don't vote for them anyway. Why are they so afraid of them?
The answer is because Republicans, deep down in their hearts, think that all teachers are still a part of the teachers union and that every single teacher is on the left. That is what the Republicans in the State House believe. I've heard them say that from their very own mouths. They don't know that that's really only 1/3 of Indiana teachers because they don't do their research. They have 2 staffers who Google everything.
All right, when we come back, we've got dueling announcements tonight. Joe Hogsett, likely running for re-election. Donald Trump, likely running for... Is it re-election if you lost in between?
Hey, it's just 2 things nobody wants.
We'll talk about it. They're not going to listen anymore. Talk about it coming up next. Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Right now, buy 4 Ultimate washes and get 2 free, available online or at any Crew Car Wash location. Plus, get a free bonus wash now through November 30th.
Let's face it, the housing market has shifted. The Indiana Board of Realtors report home sales are down 11% from this time last year. But you can still sell your home for a great price with the agent I trust with selling my home, Mark Dietl. Maybe you're worried you missed the boat on selling for maximum price. Mark Dietl guarantees an offer on your home in 3 days or it's listed for free. Get maximum convenience and maximum sales price. Listen to what Richard and Marilyn in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietl. It was time for us to downsize and move into a place with some help. The best price was our focus to pay for the higher cost of assisted living. Mark Dietl and his team listened. They cared about our needs. Our home sold in a few weeks at the price we needed, quick and easy. Call the agent I recommend and trust. Mark Dietel guarantees an offer in 3 days for full market value, or it's listed for free. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the latest power tool in roofing. Searching, ordering, tracking. Plus the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Sooner or later, we're all forced to face the fact that the world may not revolve around us. But if it's any consolation, there's a health network that does. It serves everyone in East Central Indiana, and it's called Hancock Health. From a hospital named one of America's safest to wellness centers supporting lifelong well-being, our more than 30 facilities were created with the idea of making healthcare all about you. See every way we're making health possible at hancockhealth.org.
Hi, George Faber here from B Window. It's that time of year again when we focus on keeping our crews busy, and we offer unbelievably huge savings on all of our products. It's our employee discount Black Friday sale with savings of up to 52%, plus manufacturer's winter discounts and no payments, no interest for 18 months. Wow! Go to bwindow.com for all the details.
That's Faber's B-Window. Trust me.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased credit card debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. We have a program to help you keep your good score.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Find relief in time for the holidays and make no mortgage payments until next year.
Plus, our average cash-out customer saves $904 a month.
That's right. The smartest way to save money is to pay off that high-interest credit card debt.
Call 317-706-GOLD for your free mortgage checkup.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Chris Davis reports on why Mike Pence is contemplating this about his future, plus a change in strategy for the legal team for an accused killer at Purdue University, and how many charges an accused drunk driver is facing in Warsaw. That and more coming up from the Shepherd Community Center studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Donald Trump for president again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. He's expected to announce tonight another run. Some Republicans aren't sure about that.
I don't think he should run. I think there are better candidates out there with less baggage.
I think he was a great president. I think he cares a lot about the country. Yeah, would love to see him in the White House again.
They're outside the Trump Mar-a-Lago estate, where he'll speak at 9 p.m. Eastern. Ahead of that, also in Florida, Republican governors are gathering at a conference.
Some governors have made it clear they still support the MAGA movement, while others say it's time for a new message. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he is also expected to attend this year's conference. After all, it's happening here in his backyard. But we don't believe his remarks are going to be open to the press, which may allow him to sidestep some of those questions about whether or not he plans to challenge Trump in 2024.
Fox's Mark Meredith in Orlando. Republicans need just one more House win out of 13 races still undecided to take the majority in the next Congress. They'll hold House leadership elections today. In Arizona, Democrat Katie Hobbs, the Secretary of State, is the projected winner in the governor's race, narrowly beating Republican Carrie Lake, who tweeted it's BS and told Fox.
She's the one that would certify her own election, where it was botched, where the machines didn't work in more than a third of the polling centers. I don't know how we remedy this, but the people of Arizona are furious.
Russia is on the attack again in Ukraine.
Just a couple hours ago, first we heard air raid sirens, then we heard blasts. Apparently,
Missiles have struck Kyiv and all across this country.
Fox's Greg Palcott in the capital. Earlier, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the G20 summit by video, demanding Russia stop, urging world leaders to set up a tribunal to punish it for the invasion. Another report shows inflation moderating a bit, this time on the wholesale level, up 8% year over year, but only 0.2% month over month. That has stocks surging, Dow's up nearly 400 points. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
People will have better choices. Cloudy and 37 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. So says former Indiana Governor and Vice President Mike Pence when asked if Donald Trump could beat him if he were to run for president. Chris Davis on the ABC interview.
It angered me.
Pence recalls for ABC's David Muir the day of the January 6th riots.
But I turned to my daughter who was standing nearby, and I said, it doesn't take courage to break the law. It takes courage to uphold the law.
He says the decision about whether he will run for president will be made prayerfully and with his family. His book, titled after his oath, is called So Help Me God. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The legal team for a Purdue murder suspect Jeeman Shah filed an insanity defense motion on Monday, along with a request to examine Shah's competency to stand trial. Shah's accused of stabbing Varun Chedda to death back on October 5th. The motive still unknown. His next hearing is December 2nd. In Indianapolis, housing is an issue, with 96% of available homes now taken, according to city leaders. They're hoping to help by paying for a plan to redevelop an old jail building into a new living space.
For us, this was an opportunity to take an old historic building at what its bones are and reimagine it. And so the importance of it as well is that it's right at a front door to our city.
Talking to Wish TV, Jeremy Stevenson, one of the developers working on the project, the city is hoping to create a TIF bond to cover about $15 million of the project's $121 million price tag. 26 felony counts. That's what a truck driver is going up against in Warsaw. Victor Santos is said to have been drunk when he collided with a school bus carrying a high school hockey team from Chicago. The crash put several of the players and others on the bus in the hospital. No one was killed, though. Purdue head coach Matt Painter is expecting a tough outing tonight as they take on Marquette inside of Mackey Arena.
I don't think anybody is going to press like Marquette. That's, because they're committed to it.
The Boilers just scraped by Austin Peay last Friday night. Tip-off tonight at 8:30 Eastern. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Chronic joint pain has a snowball effect. It's not just the pain.
What that did is just make me depressed that I couldn't get back into the gym, and I was inactive, gaining weight. I had to find another alternative.
And for Chad, that alternative was QC Kinetics and the non-surgical natural biologic treatments that can give lasting relief to aching hips, shoulders, knees, and backs.
Once they explained it, it made sense. Putting what we have inside our body back into us in a certain strategic way to heal up in a natural process was fantastic.
QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome,
I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free.
Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Well, we got two big announcements tonight from two people that I am totally exhausted by for totally different reasons. 93 WIBC, it's the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Kevins here. Tony Kennett from Chalkboard Review in for Casey. All right, so let's start with the first one. 6 o'clock tonight, we believe Joe Hogsett is going to announce that he is running for a third term for mayor, which is weird because he said he was a proponent of term limits. So I don't know, is the third term the limit?
I don't know. It's like that one guy in the NFL says he's going to retire, but he's just trying to beat his last record. And for Hogsett, that's murders per season. If he can just get that murders per season number in Indianapolis up just a little higher, he can retire and take the record and go into the Chicago Hall of Fame.
I look at this announcement, and if indeed it is, he is going to run again, which everyone is saying that's what it's going to be. And I look at this city, and I recognize the reality that the Republicans have absolutely no shot to win the mayor's office, that now the race for mayor becomes Shackelford v. Hogsett, and I look at this and go, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, I mean, the stench of urine in the alleys certainly isn't going to change.
Nothing's going to change. And I guess this is the question I pose to you, Tony Kennett, which is clearly voters on a national level and on now a local level say we are just fine with the crap status quo. We used to have a throw the bums out mentality, and now we just have a keep whatever bum has the correct letter next to their name mentality.
No. You see, we're really afraid. You see, you can't use the word bums because then people are going to get mad at you on social media, and then you're uncaring, and you're probably homophobic, and you're probably a bigot Christo-fascist because you don't want people to get shot in the streets and all this other stuff. Oh, man. You know what we should do? We should double down for the 18th time in the last 30 years on the same policies that are doubling and tripling the murders. I mean, just try it again. It'll work this time, probably, maybe.
I look at what has happened, and I thought the same thing with Ryan Mears. I said, okay, no doubt Marion County is a blue county. Sure. No doubt Indianapolis is a blue city.
Sure.
But you would think even blue people would want to have a reasonable level of safety and security. But apparently they do not, based on the fact that not only did Ryan Mears win, and the results are what the results are, not only did Ryan Mears win, he wins overwhelmingly. And whoever comes out of this primary is going to not only win, they're going to win overwhelmingly. It just amazes me that no matter what, and we saw this statewide with the Republicans, with Diego Morales, no matter what crap someone is handed, the letter matters more than anything now, and the performance is totally secondary, and maybe even not even secondary, maybe thirdary. You're the educator. Is that a word? Did I just make that up?
You're looking for tertiary.
Tertiary.
That's second.
Is that a word?
Tertiary.
Tertiary.
Is the word. And then followed by quaternary.
Okay, maybe it's quadrenary because clearly results just don't matter to people anymore on both sides of the aisle.
Well, what's really interesting to me is that this is why Democrats, and you saw Obama shift to this from his 2008 campaign into his 2012 campaign on the national level. This is why they start hitting the societal, it's society that's the problem. Because the Democrat gets elected and they're like, I'm going to fix this city. And then they get in and they suck. Yeah. And everyone sees that they suck. And the policies are bad. And people die. And the city's disgusting. And businesses leave. And so then they get up and they want to run for re-election. And what does Hogsett say? Well, actually, it's a societal problem. See, actually, the country's really racist and bad and horrible, and I'm just going to have to run again so that I can address societal issues. Case in point, Indianapolis Public Schools. They're on their umpteenth 4 or 5 year plan where they're like, we're going to fix academics this time. And they don't do a thing. And the kids still can't read. And they can't do math. And they're still getting shivved in the hallways in all of the IPS high schools. But no, it's society. And so we need to buy more racial equity officers because that's going to fix it. And it doesn't fix it. And everyone keeps on doubling down because the Democrats cannot admit that their policies suck and they're bad for people.
Yeah, that's such a great example. You mentioned IPS because there was a referendum. And the referendum was supposed to fix everything.
Wait a minute. What was more referendums? Yeah. Oh, yes. What was the referendum for this time?
Well, what they're going to do something with the buildings, right? I mean, the new thing is that they've got vacant buildings, not enough buildings.
That's true. I had to inventory the crap in a lot of those vacant buildings.
And the last one, wasn't it for the teacher pay? But the same thing is at all these school districts, right? I mean, no matter how much money they get, and we're picking on IPS here because they deserve to be picked on.
I was getting ready to say because they've earned it.
But it's happening in all these suburban school districts, right? Like in the school board election this year for Avon. Remember, Avon had a massive referendum that was supposed to go for teacher pay, the majority of it.
Give me money.
And now we have heard, well, teachers are so underfunded in Avon. How is that possible that if you had a colossal tax increase for teacher pay, the teachers could still be underfunded? Because you told us the teacher pay referendum was going to fix the teacher pay. The money is never enough. And it's the same thing is true. We're talking about school districts right now, but it's also true in terms of securing the city. No matter how much money you give Joe Hogsett, he will never secure the city.
That's the truth. It's the truth. And it's in the case of the public education, to answer the question that you sort of kind of asked me there, the reason that they can say they're passing this huge referendum for teacher pay and then the teacher pay doesn't actually go up is because the school's not spending the money well. The State House is giving them money. They're spending it on gender counselors and your umpteenth squash, lacrosse, whatever nonsense stadium that we're building. And we're repolishing the sidewalks and we're buying new light bulbs.
Yep.
But no one actually thinks, maybe we should just, pay our teachers and not hire the waste of time counselor who used to be a barista in college.
I remember sitting when Brownsburg tried their scam referendum in a theater, in a room full of people, and the superintendent walks out there and goes, we got to do this $100 million tax increase because, kids could be at risk of dying in the hallways of an active shooter if we don't do this. And I said, there's no way the community at large will be that stupid to buy that. You know what? 47% of the community did actually buy it. It went down 53-47.
Thank God.
But think about it. And I was pleasantly surprised at how many of these referendums failed this past
That was a huge
year.
trend in this election.
Yes.
A lot of referendums have become incredibly unpopular because voters are starting to look at the receipts and go, hey, I've been giving you more money. It's like when your college calls you up and says, hey, don't you want to donate to my college? Don't you want to donate to us, fancy alumni? Don't you want to join the team as a donor? What did you do with my tuition? I gave you buku bucks. What did you do with it? And that's what voters in Indianapolis and abroad are saying. What'd you do with my money?
But it circles back to the idea that the ideology matters more than anything because, again, I use the Brownsburg referendum as an example. When that referendum went down, because I said, let's call their bluff, I bet no kid will die in the hallway if we don't raise taxes by $100 million. And you know what? We didn't. And they did all the construction they were going to do anyway without raising taxes, which proves it was a money grab. And I thought, okay, everybody in this community is totally awake to what's going on now, and they're going to throw all these bums out on the school board who you say lied to you, and they all either got reelected or the people who are just like them are in there now, and it's worse than it's ever been before. And to bring this all full circle, same thing going on with Hogshead. Same thing going on with Ryan Mears. Same thing going on with Diego Morales. Same thing going on with Todd Young. The party is irrelevant. It's the ideology. It's the letter next to the name. And Joe Hogshead, despite just taking the city and throwing it down to crapper, is going to probably overwhelmingly be reelected. He'll probably breeze through that primary, and the Republicans obviously have zero shot. So there's never any punishment, whether it's school boards, whether it's mayors, whether it's secretary of states. There's never any punishment, and it just drives me crazy that in everywhere else in society, if you don't do your job or you don't hold up your end of the bargain, you get thrown out, and in politics, you keep getting rewarded.
There's a meme that I really like online of a picture of a dog, and it's like a cartoon dog, and it's like its face is under a boot, but it's like it's smiling.
Yes.
And it's saying, well, at least it's not Trump. Oh man, yeah, I'm being ground into the dirt, but at least it's not a Republican. And that's what I think of some of the people in Indianapolis. Like, yeah, I was just shot. My sister was just shivved. My cities smell like filth. My kids can't read. My kids can't do math. All of the good, decent grocery stores have left. All there is on this corner is like a half-open Dollar General and a hot dog cart. But at least it's not a Republican. Oh, man, I sure would hate to have safety and prosperity.
It's interesting because we always talk about on the show, Casey's little neighborhood she lives in is uber nice. But the area around it, again, is Animal House. If I were you, I'd be leaving. What a great idea. Mm-hmm. But there is super cheap gas right near Casey's house. Mm-hmm. And so once a week on my way home, I will quickly stop at this gas station and oftentimes sit in a locked car as I pump the gas and hope no one saw me get out of the car to start pumping the gas. And I watch what's going on around me and I say, why would anyone say this in which they live is an acceptable way to live? Clearly, you have been totally abandoned by your government in all shape, forms, and fashions, and they're doing absolutely nothing to secure you. And yet I guarantee all those people voted for Joe Hogshead.
And it's really interesting that you say that because I've been thinking about a lot of the northern Indianapolis races, and there are a couple of people on Twitter who absolutely despise the very fabric of my existence. And they're always tweeting out these photos from their 3-story mansions over in Carmel and Noblesville. And, they're like, Democrat politics are so important. And it's like they're literally lording over the slums to the south of them. But that's fine because, I'm so important and that's why we need more socialism. And it's like, you are absolutely stupid. I am very concerned for all of the teachers that said it was important enough to pass you on to the next grade when you have this little of an understanding of civics, economics, or public safety.
All right, here's what we're going to do next because at 10:30 we have got some just incredibly epic phone calls about people who are being completely ridiculous about Donald Trump and the threats that they're going to be not listening anymore. They're done, and then they say they'll wait for my response. We want to give that a whole segment of calls because it's that great and that important. So we're going to do 2 segments of calls. We got calls with a variety of other things that are really good coming up next. We'll talk about it. Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hopes are high for IU Hoops with one more run for Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson and Xavier Johnson and promising newcomers like CJ Gunn and Jalen Hood Shafino. And IU basketball lives here. IU travels to Cincinnati to take on Xavier Friday. Pre-game at 5. Tip-off at 6. On your home for IU basketball, 93 WIBC.
You'll be talking to family and friends on the phone during the holidays, so make sure everyone enjoys the conversation, including those with hearing loss. RelayIndiana.com provides captioned telephones that allow the hard of hearing to have normal phone conversations through voice recognition technology. The other person's words appear on an easy-to-read screen. Don't let those with hearing loss become isolated during the holidays. Get the CapTel captioned telephone from Relay Indiana. Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
Rebates are back. Leasing is back. Order banks are open. Non-commissioned sales staff ready to impress. It's Thanksgiving and it's time to give thanks. Stanley Chevrolet in McCordsville. Every new Chevy below MSRP. GM employee and supplier discounts honored. New inventory is back. Used inventory is back. Every new Chevy below MSRP. We're close, we're easy, and we'll save you a whole lot of money. Stanley Chevrolet in McCordsville is giving thanks for this Thanksgiving. Now through November 30. Excludes Corvette and Z06.
This is Ryan again, owner of Plumbing Heating Paramedics. Paramedics know that timing is everything. And for us, mild weather this time of year means furnace sales are slower, which means you can take advantage of our best offer of the year. Now through December 10th, we are offering $2,500 off a new Trane furnace or air conditioner. A deal this strong allows us to keep our technicians busy and gives you the best deal of the year. Call to schedule your free home evaluation today or visit phparamedics.com for more details.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
He's just a little crazy.
He's a little crazy. And Casey Daniels.
Oh, man, she's fascinating.
On 93 WIBC.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answer.
Double shot of the voicemails today because at 10:30 we're dedicating a segment to a lady who lost her mind twice on the voicemails, and so she needs just all of the attention because this will be the gift that keeps on giving. But we didn't want to exclude everyone else because some calls just rise above, or multiple calls just rise above everyone else.
The cream of the crop.
But we did not want to exclude some of the other Rhodes Scholars who felt compelled to call into the program.
It's important to engage with the community,
It is.
right? Isn't that what they say in broadcasting? It's important that you need to engage with your listeners.
And nobody,
really reach out and touch
nobody engages like us. 317-684-8444. As you know, hate mail goes right to the front of the line, or hate calls, or whatever. We believe that you people should be put on full display for everyone and give you the attention that you seek. And remember yesterday, so this one is actually for you, Kenneth. If you recall, yesterday, remember we were in a totally sarcastic fashion, laughing about how during the 2020 presidential primary, all the major contenders for president on the Democrat side wanted to go to a national vote. The Electoral College is corrupt. It's awful. It's evil. It's archaic. It's racist. It's whatever. And we needed to go to a national vote. And we had the audacity to point out how the Republicans, by millions of votes, are going to win the national vote this time, yet they will not have one of the chambers, which is the U.S. Senate. And we noticed how quiet the Democrats were about the need for the national vote.
And in saying that, we understand that it is a joke because these were hundreds of elections that were at thousands of elections that were added up together to make a larger national popular. We're making a point that the Democrats are hypocritical, but from what you're telling me, and I haven't listened to this call yet, someone was very upset that I made this joke.
Yes, this Ivy Leaguer here was very upset.
Hi, I'm responding to your genius you've got on there talking about the popular vote. Could somebody please tell the idiot that the popular vote has nothing to do with congressional elections? It's only for the presidential election? You would think that somebody who holds himself out to be an expert on politics would know that.
Somebody told me this years ago, Tony, and it's very true. No one likes humor anymore.
No, I didn't realize that I had declared myself an expert on politics. Attention, Indiana! I am now the expert on politics. That's how you have to introduce me at every segment. I would like to point out, though, that actually the popular vote does matter in congressional elections because it is the total number of votes that decides who wins each congressional seat. So I know this is crazy. If you and I are running for Congress and I'm running as the super conservative and you're running as the libertarian heathen and we're running against each other, if I get 1,000 votes and you get 800 votes, I won the popular vote. And guess what? I also won the election. Isn't that crazy? So it seems as though, even though I was joking in that situation, even in the criticism, he couldn't tie his own shoes to finish his own point. 10 out of 10.
Got another phone call, someone who would like to hold their elected officials accountable, and I love this, and I think this person is spot on. Go ahead.
Rob. The election's over, so let's stop beating that dead horse. Let's put your voice to use. Right now, you should be telling everybody to call Mike Braun's office and tell him that he even hopes to win our vote when he runs for governor, that he better not be voting Mitch McConnell as minority leader. A vote for Mitch McConnell as minority leader is a deal breaker for Mike Braun for governor. Unfortunately, calling Todd Young would be a waste of time because if you look at Todd Young's, you're going to see Mitch McConnell's arm fully inserted and pulling the strings, much like a Jeff Dunham dummy there.
I was thinking Jeff Dunham.
Mike Braun has aspirations, and he needs our support. So let's let him know he won't get it if Mitch McConnell is a minority leader.
All right, I like it.
So do you remember there's like a Tostitos commercial or something, or I don't know, it's a salsa commercial where they ask if the girl wants chips or salsa.
Oh, yes.
And the little girl says, que no lo más dos, which means like, why don't we have both? Why don't we both criticize the fact that Republicans completely screwed up this election and also suggest that we should encourage Mike Braun to choose a different minority leader in the Senate and things like that? I don't see why we have to pick and choose. On Monday morning, you both point the team in the direction that you want to go and you look at where you failed on Sunday's game.
Yeah. All right. We've got a call. Again, another person. I think this person's being sarcastic, trying to be negative towards us, which is why I chose to play it. If he was being sincere, then I've completely screwed up here. Go ahead.
Rob, why don't you start talking about these gas prices and how we're being gouged by the gas stations? You go down south, gas is $3.24, all the way to Florida. As soon as you cross the Kentucky state line. Why is our gas so high? And it isn't the gas tax. It's because I forgot.
Well, this is what I don't know, and I put this out there because it gave me an opportunity to tell you, oh, yes, it is the gas tax. Because if someone has a gas tax of 0 and someone has a gas tax of 60 cents plus, which fluctuates based on the price of gas, then the gas you pay for in Indiana is going to, from the start, be 60 cents more expensive than a state that has no gas tax. Why would that be so hard for anyone to understand, Tony?
Rob, this is the 10th time that I have been on the air with you as of today. And
congratulations.
Of those, yeah, thanks. I know. We're celebrating at home this evening. 8 of those times, so other than the last show, I have criticized the Indiana GOP's addressing of the gas tax every single time I've been on the air. It has gotten me in minor trouble with the Indiana GOP. I have been spoken to.
Oh, you've been spoken to?
I have been spoken to because I have criticized the little miniature rebate. I have also expounded upon why the Indiana GOP went with the rebate instead of the gas tax reduction and called it stupid. It's not gas station. Your local Speedway guy is not saying this morning, I'm going to make it extra expensive. He doesn't do that. That is a myth. It's been debunked dozens of times.
If someone has no gas tax and someone has a gas tax of 60 cents, the price of their gas starts 60 cents higher than everyone else. The Republican Party is who is gouging you. The Republican Party is who is making your gas markedly more expensive in this state than in other states. It's not a conspiracy. It's not the local convenience store owner.
No, Rob.
It is high tax Holcomb.
No.
It is the Flanders boys, Rod and Todd.
I'm sorry. That's wrong. I'm sorry.
Just unbelievable.
In New Albany, Indiana, every morning, the local gas station owners, they get together in this dark, musty room, and some Italian trumpet starts playing in the background, and they start strategizing how they're going to gouge the New Albanyans today.
You know who never gouges anyone is Kurt Darling. He's just got the news, and it's coming up next. It's Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
There's only one you, and you only have one heart. That's why Franciscan Health is here with the highest level of heart care that's personal, compassionate, and sensitive to your needs. Known for embracing innovative technology and advancements in care, our nationally recognized heart team is committed to helping you protect the only heart you've got. To schedule your appointment with a heart care expert or to get a second opinion, visit franciscanhealth.org/heartcare.
At Indiana Foundation Service, we work on a lot of neighborhood homes, and we're proud to share some of what our customers have said about us.
My basement had massive amounts of water when it rained. I made an appointment. They were professional and honest. I'd highly recommend them if you need help waterproofing your home. You'll be in good hands.
When we realized our family room was sinking, we knew we had to act fast and get the right people to come out and evaluate our situation. It was nerve-wracking. Turns out I had a foundation problem. They fixed it and guaranteed it for life.
I was having problems with water in my crawl space during heavy rains. I was concerned about mold and the air my family was breathing. I'm so happy I called. The problem was fixed, and I'm not stressed anymore.
Indiana Foundation Service can keep your home and family safe. Visit indianafoundation.com to book your free inspection.
Indiana Foundation Service, reliability from the ground up.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Will he run? It's cloudy and 37 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Former President Trump expected to kickstart his 2024 presidential campaign tonight from Florida. The former president teased a potential campaign announcement at several rallies in the final weeks of the midterm elections. Trump's expected run comes after he's experienced an unexpected setback following the GOP's underwhelming midterm performance. The world population expected to reach 8 billion people today. Fox's Jonathan Savage.
It's impossible, of course, to know exactly how many people are on our planet at any given moment, but November 15th has been chosen to mark this milestone. The UN says it's an opportunity to celebrate diversity, recognise what we have in common, and marvel at how science has extended our lives. A growing population creates challenges. How do we house and feed so many? And then there's the environmental impact. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
A ring shimmering with 3 blue sapphires for the one who's never left your side. A gold necklace with a lavender gemstone for your dearest friend. A romantic diamond bracelet for a new love. At Shane Company, we create treasures for the people you treasure. With the widest selection of fine jewelry, it'll be easy to find magical holiday gifts for your family and friends. We know your gift represents your love. That's why we put so much care into everything we make. At Shane Company, our diamonds are hand-selected one by one, so they sparkle from every angle. Our gemstones shine in a full spectrum of colors, so you can choose your ideal shade. Our cultured pearls are hand-matched, so when the light hits them, they illuminate beautifully. Visit us today. We're open every day of the week. You can also set up an appointment to meet with a jewelry consultant in the store. We offer virtual appointments too. This year, find true treasures for the ones you love.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Did you know that you need to winterize your roof? Let Moss Roofing be your first call. MossRoofing.com. Call Moss Roofing before winter hits. Damaged siding can create one big winter project that you do not want to deal with, especially in that frigid cold. Moss Roofing can inspect, repair, or replace damaged siding. They can also recommend downspout extensions or top-notch gutter guards if they see any red flags during the inspection. Let's talk insulation. Investing in and reinforcing your home's insulation with Moss Roofing can reduce your energy bills and keep you warmer this winter. Whether you need to install new insulation or replace your existing insulation, you can always turn to Moss Roofing. Moss Roofing will find the solution that works best for you and your budget. The expert inspectors from Moss Roofing can identify your unique needs. Whether you need winter-ready insulation, gutters, repairs, or a replacement, the Moss Roofing team will come up with a custom winterizing plan for you. Visit mossroofing.com to get your winter prep started today.
Emma and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Hey, I just met you, and this is
Okay.
crazy, but here's my
So before we play multiple audios of the multiple, when I combine them together, the best, most unhinged phone call I think I've ever heard because of how just ridiculous the premise is of the caller. Tony, by the way, Tony Kennett in for Casey today. It's the Kendall and Casey show here on 93 WIBC. Let's clarify a couple things, okay? We don't hate Donald Trump. Is that fair? I would say it's a fair assessment for me.
Voted for him twice.
I was going to say. I voted for him twice. You voted for him twice.
Defended him while he was in the administration in policy. Defended him against the impeachment nonsense. Defended him against a lot of the media garbage. I defended him even in times where, looking back, I don't know if I would defend him a second time around. I'm not a Trump hater. I'm definitely not an ever-Trumper.
And if Donald Trump were the Republican nominee for president, I would vote for him because I would vote for a literal orange peel, as I've said before, against whoever the Democrat is. So if you are saying that you don't hate someone, that you voted for them twice, that you would vote for them again if indeed they were the nominee, that doesn't make you a hater or a never-Trumper, right?
No, it just means that when he does good things, I praise him. When he does bad things, I criticize him. That's it.
That is a normal American thing to do, right? That is a normal human thing to do. When people,
I was going to say, it's a normal human thing to do. Americans, we don't often do that.
Right.
We cling to things.
So when we criticize Trump and when we tell you on here that he cannot win, that he has completely alienated huge swaths of people, that his behavior, especially the past 6 months, has been completely ridiculous, we're not saying that because we hate him. We're saying that because we are normal people who recognize, and in this industry, we talk to people all the time. We recognize where more and more people are at by the day, and we are capable. We are not so wed to some person or ideology that we can't tell you when realism is hitting us in the face.
Look, my big issue for Donald Trump, when I thought that he was finally starting to do irrevocable damage to himself, is when he came out and called Mitch McConnell's wife a racist Asian slur by name. That in me was the moment was like, okay, if Trump runs again, I'm going to have a hard time explaining on air why I would vote for him and why I was putting that away in the closet.
And yet it is interesting that despite the fact that people are seeing this and coming to the same conclusions that we are by the day, there is a group of people who come absolutely unhinged anytime we say anything critical about Donald Trump. And Tony, I will turn it over to you because I absolutely do not get how you could be so wed to some guy who didn't even really live up to his end of the bargain, especially when you factor COVID into it. Again, if you took away the name and the letter next to the guy and you said, here's what someone did during COVID and the bribery and the backing of lockdowns, et cetera, people would come unhinged. But because it involves Trump's name, it's like, you're the bad guy for telling us the truth and telling us where many people are at.
I don't have any further comments to add that are really going to further any kind of conversation this way. I mean, if you think that I am anti-Trump despite the last couple of years of what I've covered, then new evidence isn't going to change your mind. You're set in your ways. It just is the way it is.
So this lady called not once, but twice. And we're only going to play, I'm going to play just a very brief part of the first call so that you get the gist of it. It was like, and I don't know the exact time because I went through and edited it out, obviously. It was about a 3-minute phone call of just ranting and raving and blasting us. And so I'm just going to play you a little bit of the first phone call before we get to the second one. Go ahead.
And how dare you continue to try to get listeners by bashing him every single day. And I will tell you, if you play this on the radio, I probably won't hear it because I'm not listening anymore. There's other stations that I can listen to where they're not going to bash certain Republicans that don't deserve it and try to create division in our party. How dare you? How dare you? I'm so appalled.
How dare you?
Appalled.
How dare we?
I would like to speak to your manager. How dare you? I came here to buy a yacht and you sell French fries. How dare you? I came here with this Camel on my back and these Camel cigarettes in my hand. How dare you? I love that so much. I had parents like that. I had administrators like that who, whenever you just disagreed with them, it was just, how dare you? Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine having to be around that lady in any sort of like lengthy period, like in a relationship or whatever? I mean, lady, it's radio and we have an opinion about Trump. We have an opinion that millions and millions and millions of other Americans who voted for Trump have. And by the way, and this will be the point of what I'm trying to do by displaying this person for you all. When you call and tell us you're done with us, when you call us and tell us you're not listening anymore, when you call us and tell us you're walking away, we don't take you serious. They always come back. I've been in this business for 20 years. You never stop to begin with for the most part. So if you want to be laughed at and you want to waste your energy yelling at the radio broadcaster, go right ahead. But it's not changing anything we're going to do because the majority of people, overwhelming majority, the numbers prove it, big numbers, love that we tell people the truth. We tell you what's going on. We are not so wed to some person that we're going to bullcrap you.
My opinions are not based on trying to get more listeners. I'm not out. I don't write tweets so that I'm out there trying to say, oh, see, this is a really good tweet because I'm really smart and impressive and intelligent. This is why you should follow me. No, I simply say this is what I believe. This is the data on which it is based. If you agree with it, great. If not, okay, I'm not going to change the data or change what's reality in front of my face to make you feel better. That's not my job.
All right. So nothing says I'm totally done with you after 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, whatever it was, of ranting and raving, like immediately calling right back and telling me that you're done with me and that you need to tell me more about how bad I am and that you're done with me. Go ahead.
I just left a long message for Casey and Kendall. Well, not Casey, whoever it is with Kendall today, regarding Trump and the bashing of Trump that is just uncalled for on your station 24/7. Two things I didn't mention. One, I would just like to know the purpose of that. What purpose is there for doing that every day, in and out, every time I turn on your show? So I'm not listening anymore. I just can't stand it. So what's the purpose of constantly taking jabs at Trump and blaming him for everything like the Democrats do and jumping on that bandwagon? What's that purpose? That's number one. Number two, what do you hope to gain out of that? Are you trying to change. People who liked his policies and thought he did well. I guess I don't understand the purpose of the whole thing. So just add that to my previous email or voicemail, and we'll see if you respond.
So now she's listening again.
I'm not listening. I'm totally done with you. I can't wait to see if you respond.
She had seller's remorse. I hate it when that happens. Okay, well, that one was addressed kind of at me. I'm the guy on air that was yelling about Trumps and masks. I don't even think I remembered mentioning masks, but it came in, griping about me. So here are the two reasons to answer the two very clear questions that she meandered her way about like a drunk at a wharf. So, why do we criticize Trump? What do we hope to gain? What are we trying to do here? The reason I'm criticizing Trump right now is that in the last 2 weeks, at a critical time in the Republican Party, he is running his mouth and he is saying stupid things. That's it. That's all I'm focusing on. In the last few, I know you were talking about his COVID policies. I'm not. Right now, I'm talking about what he said in the last 2 weeks, the candidates that he's endorsed, which were garbage, which in the battleground states did terribly. That's what I'm criticizing, because right now we're deciding where the Republican Party goes. And before we decide where we go, we have to take into account what we have. What do we have with Trump? We have a lunatic who's throwing punches at everything, doesn't care whether he hits drywall or a baby. He's just throwing his fists around and he's punching. And so I'm criticizing that.
Okay, so I want to follow that up with these are the next two phone calls that were in our voicemail queue. So when this lady acts like we're out on some island somewhere and we're doing this for ratings or whatever, we're doing it because this is where the majority of normal people are, the majority of people who voted for Trump, who are recognizing what Trump has become. These were the next two phone calls after we heard from that lunatic. Go ahead.
Hey, Rob and Kendall. Love your show. Listen every day. It's on as I work. I work from home. I just wanted to comment on Trump. I voted for him 2 times. I will not vote a third time for Donald Trump. I thought maybe I could, but with his most recent behavior, I just can't do it anymore. So I'm really hoping that the Republican primaries bubble up someone who was worth the time and that I can vote for. I can't vote for a Democrat, so I guess my option will be don't vote at all. Not sure what I'm going to do. But just wanted to add my 2 cents on that because it's really been weighing on my mind, especially after he went after DeSantis just before the midterms. Just can't believe that someone would do that.
Bingo! That is just an honest person saying, look, I was even considering voting for him a third time. I was in her shoes.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to, but if he wins the primary again, yeah, I'll probably vote for him in the general. That was my attitude. That's where I was going. And then he came out and he said the nonsense about McConnell's wife. And I don't even like McConnell, but like calling his wife an Asian slur, probably not your best move. I just, for me. And then, adding into that all of the other nonsense, that's just where I am. I agree with her.
Before we get to another break, the next call after that, go.
Heard the discussion about Trump. I voted for him in 16 and 20 also, but mostly because he was the lesser of 2 evils. The 2016 election between Hillary and Trump, oh my gosh. And then the 20 election between Biden and Trump, oh my gosh. But if there's another rising star, and I'm looking at DeSantis, then I tend to think I would agree with you guys that, yeah, it's time to divest ourselves from Trump. He's been a kind of like a loudmouth brat for so long and really doesn't have, I don't know, I just don't think he can be a politician. He can be a lot of things. I'm not sure he's a politician.
Those 2 calls are where the majority of people are now. They backed him, sometimes unwittingly. He had his opportunity. He did not produce. He did not win. He has not won in 6 years. It's over. If you want the Republican Party to die, nominate Donald Trump again. This is the irony of this. I know we got to get to a break. People are always on me about, you're nothing but a Republican basher. You're so mean to the Republican Party. I can't believe you don't just get behind Republican candidates. And here I am telling you, as an honest broker, that if you actually want to save the Republican Party, if you actually want the Republican Party to remain a viable party in this country, You absolutely not only cannot run Donald Trump, you have to run as far away from Donald Trump. And we're not advocating for Jeb Bush or Chris Christie.
No, I don't want
Lindsey
either
Graham.
of those. No, I don't want establishment garbage running the party either. I think based on his record, based on his rhetoric, based on the policies he pushes, individuals like DeSantis are good. And the most honest response that I get from people like that is those candidates are hard to find. Yeah, they're hard to find. Right. They're good candidates. So do the work, find the good candidates, quit sending up populist trash, quit sending up establishment trash. I don't want either. I'm not choosing between two extremes. I want a decent conservative who's going to promote liberty-minded policies.
All right, Hammers coming up next. Kendall Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
3 o'clock this afternoon on the Hammer and Nigel Show. Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter in studio. We'll have a conversation about Delphi. 93 WIBC.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
PXG is now open in Indy, baby. Introducing PXG's newest retail store, PXG Indianapolis. Get fitted for hot new PXG golf clubs and our brand new state-of-the-art fitting bays. And shop PXG's off-the-hook apparel, hats, bags, all sorts of stuff. So come by our beautiful new PXG Indianapolis store, 6091 East 82nd Street. We'll be waiting for you. PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate painting year after year, do what your neighbor Edwina did. She called Rhino Shield.
So over the years, I had to touch up the house. I just got to the point where I couldn't spend any more money on the outside of the house. And when I saw Rhino Shield, I thought that was the answer to my problem.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
I'd had painters here before, and it was usually quite a disaster with them leaving their equipment here and picking up things in the yard. But Rhino Shield was right on it.
Get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
The gentleman said, if you're interested, give me a call. And I said, honestly, can you come tomorrow?
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all of your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, fastest way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people here in Indy is nothing short of amazing. So if you have joint pain, any joint pain, by the way, you need to call QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting relief. So no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. QC Kinetics started with one clinic last year, but the demand has been so strong they now have clinics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and more on the way. Modern advances in regenerative medicine allow these medical professionals to take the remarkable healing properties from your own body, concentrate them for maximum power, and put them directly into your aching joints so your damaged tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. So many people are living their best life again, pain-free, thanks to QC Kinetics. So if you have pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back, do not let them keep you on steroids and don't believe surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics right now in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. It's a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN.
Introducing Spectrum One,
Get Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits per second, advanced Wi-Fi with best-in-class security and privacy, Spectrum Mobile with unlimited talk, text, and data plus nationwide 5G. Get it all with Spectrum One. Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com or a Spectrum store today. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Hubler has certified service and maintenance for the life of your vehicle. Get everyday value pricing on service and parts and schedule an appointment with ease at drivehubler.com.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%
Hammer and Nigel,
Biden.
Podcasts. Listen to the station live, whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Tony Kennett's in for Casey. Hammer, hello.
Dancing on a car right now like Tawny Katane listening to the White Snake. You're welcome for that visual, Indianapolis.
I've seen you dance on a car before. It is not something I ever want to think about ever again.
That's a true story. He's not even being a smartass. Speaking of music, yesterday was a great anniversary for the music industry. I can't believe kids were even at school yesterday, Rob, because it was the 25th anniversary of the Celine Dion album that featured My Heart Will Go On from the Titanic soundtrack.
Right, sure.
So we jumped in the hot tub time machine yesterday, and we went back to 2019 when our promotions department thought it would be a good idea to give us Celine Dion tickets to give away. Because, you know, the Hammer and Nigel listeners love Celine Dion. So we had a game called Hey Man, Do You Want to Go See Celine? Where we had caller number 9 standing by. And if Nigel and I could convince one of our friends to have a dude's night out at Celine Dion, they got the tickets. So this is when I called my friend, Dan Dockich.
Hello.
Coach, it's Hammer. What's up, buddy?
Nothing. What's going on?
Nothing. Hey, I got a question for you. Tuesday, December 3rd, do you want to go have a dude's night out with a bunch of us? We're going to go see Celine Dion, and it's going to get a bunch of dudes together. You want to go downtown?
What are you talking about? A bunch of dudes together to go see Celine Dion? I'll pass. No.
No, come on. It's going to be fun. Nigel's going to go. I think we're going to get some other people around the station to go. I mean, listen, you don't have to like our music to have a good time. And we got free tickets from the station.
I'll tell you what. I'll meet you somewhere and have a bite to eat, but I'm not going, no.
What if I told you we had somebody that was a designated driver and Nigel's wife pulled some strings and I think we get free beer at the show?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. You in? Okay, cool. And caller number 9 got the tickets. And then Nigel called his buddy Mark.
Hello.
Mark.
What's going on?
Hey, I got 3 words for you. Guys night out.
Okay. What am I supposed to do with those 3? Yeah, what's up?
I just not you and I, all our friends are getting older now, but I've got some tickets to a show coming up, a concert. And I thought it'd be, I thought it'd be cool for like me and you and, I don't know, Fisher and Wojo or whoever to maybe get together and I've got these tickets to the show and I figure maybe we could just have a night of it, you know?
Who's performing?
How many Celine Dion songs can you name off the top of your head?
Man, maybe 5?
5?
My Heart Will Go On. Let's see. 'Cause I'm your baby. Or something like that. If you'll be my man.
So I guess what I'm saying is I've got tickets to Celine Dion. I figure we get the guys together and head out, and I was gonna run it by you and see what you thought.
Well, we gotta do dinner beforehand.
That's great. I love that local Brownsburg celebrity Mark Vole was on that piece of radio greatness. What's coming up this afternoon?
Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter in studio. We got a lot to get to.
You'll do it live.
We're going to do it live, 4 o'clock.
All right, coming up next, Mike Pence audio from the big ABC interview last night.
I love this background music, by the way.
This is fantastic.
It's Kendall and Casey show at 93 WIBC.
Come on, we're going
going to be late to the cookout?
I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese.
I hope you packed the Pepto, too.
Huh?
Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much. And after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs, you're going to need it.
Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too.
Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Let's face it, the housing market has shifted. The Indiana Board of Realtors report home sales are down 11% from this time last year. But you can still sell your home for a great price with the agent I trust with selling my home, Mark Dietl. Maybe you're worried you missed the boat on selling for maximum price. Mark Dietl guarantees an offer on your home in 3 days or it's listed for free. Get maximum convenience and maximum sales price. Listen to what Richard and Marilyn in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietl. It was time for us to downsize and move into a place with some help. The best price was our focus to pay for the higher cost of assisted living. Mark Dietl and his team listened. They cared about our needs. Our home sold in a few weeks at the price we needed, quick and easy. Call the agent I recommend and trust. Mark Dietl guarantees an offer in 3 days for full market value or it's listed for free. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
At Shane Company, we know that love and meaning can be captured in a beautiful piece of fine jewelry. That's why we offer so many options to make your holiday gift even more personal. Jewelry with a birthstone makes a wonderful gift because it holds so much significance. Shane Company has unique styles with birthstones for every month of the year. Diamonds, cultured pearls, rubies, opals, and more. Why not create a necklace with her birthstone and then add a charm for good luck? A necklace with the first letter of her name lets her know how important she is to you. And our gold letter charms sparkle with diamond accents. Or select an engravable style. Give your loved one a bracelet inscribed with the place you met so they'll never forget that moment. Or capture your strong connection with a promise ring inscribed with both of your initials. Our jewelry consultants will make it easy. At Shane Company, we give you so many ways to create gifts infused with meaning. Treasures they'll have forever.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Hey, how would you live your life if you could wake up each morning knowing there was enough money coming in to not only cover your basic needs, but also your goals and dreams as well?
The mission at the Singer Financial Group is that they want to work with people who expect their relationship to be transformational rather than transactional. If that's what you're looking for, you should connect with the Singer Financial Group. 317-852-9153. That's 317-852-9153. Or go to singerfinancialgroup.com. Schedule a discovery meeting and see how the retirement income money map planning process could transform your life. 317-852-9153.
Investment advisory services offered through registered investment advisors Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, and AE Wealth Management, LLC. Working with Singer Financial cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk, presented by Technology Recyclers, certified electronics recycling. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the perspective from Mike Pence on January 6th and a possible run for president. All that and more coming up from the Shepherd Community Center studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
They are trying to become a bigger global superpower than us. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The greatest long-term threat to our nation's ideas, innovation, and economic security, our national security, is that from China.
FBI Director Christopher Wray at a House hearing into worldwide threats the day after President Biden met with China's leaders, saying they had blunt talks. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told the same hearing our biggest threat inside the U.S. remains
domestic violent extremism, particularly through lone actors
or small groups.
But days after the head of Customs and Border Protection resigned under pressure, Republicans are questioning Mayorkas over a record surge of migrants.
More than 230,000 people were stopped along the Mexican border in October, the third highest month since President Joe Biden took office.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Former President Trump, who focused on building border wall in his first run, is expected tonight to announce another run for president. But some Republicans don't want him to, blaming Trump for the lack of red waves in the midterm elections. Another Republican he backed, Carrie Lake, is the projected loser in the Arizona governor's race to Democrat Katie Hobbs.
After the race call, Lake tweeting, quote, Arizonans know BS when they see it. The Lake campaign and supporters have directed much of their ire at the Maricopa County elections officials, voicing doubt on the week-long counting process.
Fox's Alicia Cunha in Phoenix. In the House, Republicans are just one win away from taking the majority. With 13 races still undecided, they'll hold House leadership elections in a few hours. Another report shows inflation moderating. Fox's Ginny Casola says this time it's on the wholesale level.
The producer price index rose 8% in the year ending in October. From September to October, prices were up 0.2%.
President Biden calls that welcome news ahead as we head into the holidays. On Wall Street, the Dow's up 250 points. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The riots through his eyes. It's 37 and cloudy downtown. Some more snow showers moving in. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. People were shouting, "Hang Mike Pence," when they got into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Chris Davis reports on why the former Indiana governor and vice president says he wouldn't leave.
Well, we could hear the crowds outside the Capitol.
The interview with ABC's David Muir that aired Monday night.
And when we began to move, we could hear the crowds inside the Capitol.
Pence says he did not want to give the rioters the satisfaction of seeing his motorcade leave. He talked with his lead Secret Service agent when he insisted that they go.
I stuck my finger in his chest and said, "You're not hearing me. I'm not leaving."
Pence has a book coming out today called So Help Me God. What you won't find in it is whether he will run for president in 2024. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Delphi murder suspect has someone to represent him. Andrew Joseph Baldwin of Franklin was Richard Allen's attorney of record as of Monday. He begged a Carroll County judge last week to appoint a public defender because he couldn't afford a lawyer. An announcement coming tonight from Indy Mayor Joe Hogsett. He's likely to clear up whether or not he has plans to run for another term as mayor. That announcement coming at 6 o'clock. 2 inmates are back in custody after walking away from a minimum security housing unit in Newcastle.
Austin Bolton and Keegan Brooks got loose from the Newcastle Correctional Facility Monday around 5 o'clock. I'm John Herrick. About 2 hours later, they were caught. Bolton was already in prison for burglary, and for Brooks, it was drug possession. They could face additional time in prison depending on what the prosecutor decides to do next. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And a West Lafayette man can never legally hunt again in Indiana. Hanson Pusey has had his hunting license suspended for life after he was discovered by conservation officers to have poached turkeys throughout Indiana and in 6 other states. Essentially, he illegally hunted turkeys out of season. He was arrested this week and forced to pay a hefty fine. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You've been planning for your retirement for some time, but right now, things may not be going according to plan. If your retirement timeline is shifting due to market performance, it's time for a second opinion. Edelman Financial Engines can help answer questions like when to take Social Security and how you may be able to turn your savings into the retirement income you need. You don't want to postpone retirement. Now is the time to talk to a dedicated wealth planner. At Edelman Financial Engines, you get personalized investment recommendations. Our approach is backed by institutional rigor. We model over 38,000 securities monthly, so we can better stress test your portfolio through thousands of scenarios. And our planners don't sell products to earn commissions. Get your complimentary wealth checkup today, where you can discuss your financial goals with a wealth planner. Call Edelman Financial Engines at 888-899-4450. That's 888-899-4450. Or visit EFEWealthPlanners.com.
You're You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. I'm Rob. Kevin's here. Tony Kennett from Chalkboard Review in for Casey today. So Mike Pence is out hawking some books. And naturally, when you're out trying to sell a book, you go on the newscasts, the talk shows, the variety of places to highlight some of the more sensational parts of your book.
Ooh, you could sell books with that kind of an attitude.
Well, you know, I'm a marketeur, as you are a provocateur, maybe a little bit of both. Here's my question for you before we play a little audio from Pence on ABC last night. Can you name, so let's go back. I think Mike Pence was elected to the U.S. Congress in 2000. Can you name one thing that Mike Pence was responsible for in the 16 years from 2000 to the 20 years from 2000 to 2020, where you would say the world is markedly different or better because Mike Pence, fill in the blank. Is there anything? I'm talking as a congressman, as a governor, or as the vice president.
I'll say that he was strong on some cultural issues. That's what I'll give him.
But there's no crowning achievement for Mike Pence. As a congressman, what did he do?
No, he was not in my opinion, I don't think that Pence was the crowning achievement kind of guy. I never, in my time, following his politics, looked and was like, okay, what is Mike going to do to set the stage? Mike was always a fill in the gaps and make this a decent situation sort of guy, at least on cultural issues, which is what I knew him for.
Right, but he presented himself as that guy. He was always our moment is now kind of guy, and I'm the guy to rise to the moment. But yet his actual record as a congressman, what did he do? He drove up deficits, and he voted for ill-begotten wars, and he voted for unfunded tax cuts.
There you go. That's the criticism laid right out front.
As a governor, what did he do? He got a very small, very moderate amount of individual income tax reform, and completely embarrassed the state on multiple fronts, whether it was state-run media or RFRA or whatever, not just the act itself. And even when there was nothing wrong with the act itself, in the case of RFRA, then he completely embarrassed the state on the way he handled it. And then as vice president, he was a nice messenger for Donald Trump. But my point in all this is a guy who we have always been, he's almost Evan Bayh-esque in the sense, right? Remember, Evan Bayh was always the next guy. It will be Evan Bayh's turn. And then it was never. The idea of Evan Bayh is clearly by the voters in 2016 when Todd Young thoroughly thrashed him. The idea of Evan Bayh was always greater than Evan Bayh himself based on the fact that he never ascended to the next thing and he never really accomplished anything. They're the same guy.
And that's interesting, though, but I don't remember seeing a lot of people in the national GOP walking around claiming as a mainstream point that Mike Pence was the next big thing. I think Mike Pence has always been assumed a supporting cast member. There's nothing wrong with supporting cast members. Some of my favorite characters in a lot of things are the supporting cast. And when Trump picked Pence for his VP nominee, everyone instantly knew why. It was to moderate out the image of Trump. It was to appeal to the conservative Christian crowd. And that was it. It was a supporting cast position. It was not because he had a great field of expertise. It wasn't because he appealed to some fancy cultural demographic, other than he was to moderate the image of Trump. Pence is a supporting character.
That's an interesting take, and I was critical of the pick for a variety of reasons. One, Mike, again, some of the things we're talking about here, but I also knew Mike Pence never believed in the stuff Trump was talking about, right? Mike Pence was going to lose his reelection for governor. John Gregg was going to boat race Mike Pence because Mike Pence had not done a good job as governor and had brought many national embarrassments to our state. Not necessarily in the case of like RFRA, the law itself, but again, the way he handled the law. And this was a guy who took the first exit ramp that he could find, and it was a great exit ramp, and he was willing to say or do whatever. We all know how Mike and Karen actually felt about Donald Trump. And I mention all of this because now we have this moment where he's trying to sell books to pay for his fancy mansion in Carmel/Zionsville, while not helping any of those poor people that he and his brother left holding the bag with Keel Brothers Oil Company. But of course, that's another story for another time. We don't have time to get into it today. But to act like you're so appalled by the Trump behavior now when you're trying to sell books, when you vouched for it and propped it up and excused and explained it for 4 years. What Donald Trump did on January 6th is no different than anything Donald Trump did for the 4 years he was president. And he was behind that the whole way until now that he's not vice president anymore. It's financially and opportunistically expedient for him to decry and act like something egregious happened and something egregious Trump did.
So I'm going to push back on that a little bit, and not because I'm advocating for Pence in this situation, but I am suggesting that Trump's behavior in the first 4 years of his presidency or the only 4 years of his presidency. Sorry. Trump in the first 3 years of his presidency, I should say, was different in the way that he communicated with the American public than in the last year. There was a marked difference in the way that Trump ramped up his rhetoric in year 4 in going into the 2020 election than he did in his first 3 years, when he was more focused on foreign policy, when he was more focused on a lot of other things other than internal election campaign strategy. And I think that it's within those ideas. He still held rallies. But other than that, I really don't see Mike Pence having to go and kind of excuse a lot of the stuff the administration did. It was more of just saying, well, yeah, he's Trump and he does mean tweets, but look at what his administration has done for the common American.
You mean to tell me you think, and you know Mike, and I don't know if you know the family around him, but you mean to tell me you think Mike Pence and Karen Pence took that job as vice president and they didn't absolutely abhor Trump from the moment they took that deal? You think they
abhor? No. Do I think that every single day was basically them coming back into the room and just going, he just said this thing that we kind of have to smooth over? Yeah, I mean, but that's also not an uncommon thing for the vice president. I'm not excusing it. I'm saying that it's maybe a little dramatic to suggest that Mike Pence abhorred Trump from the minute he started working with him. Now, during the end of his presidency, when Trump started to really fall off the rails and start saying crazier things, yeah, then Mike Pence was in a difficult, position. Does that warrant now Pence kind of running around and going, well, actually, it was always this bad and whatever? No, I find that a little disingenuous, but I haven't read the book yet, and I'm guessing in this audio bite, you're going to kind of share some of the stuff that he ended up saying.
Yes, here we go. Here's a little bit of Pence about Trump on January 6th.
Members were barricaded inside the House chamber. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of it all, you can see that the president has tweeted. 2:24 p.m., the president tweets, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done.
It angered me. But I turned to my daughter, who was standing nearby, and I said, it doesn't take courage to break the law. It takes courage to uphold the law. I mean, the president's words were reckless. It was clear he decided to be part of the problem.
Over the course of several hours, you spoke with the acting defense secretary. You spoke with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley.
I did.
You spoke with the acting attorney general, Jeff Rosen, with the chief of Capitol Police. Where was the president in all this?
David, I was at the Capitol. I wasn't at the White House.
And when you learned later that he was watching all this unfold on TV?
I can't account for what the president was doing that day. I was at a loading dock in the Capitol where a riot was taking place.
But why wasn't he making these calls?
That'd be a good question for him.
He doesn't have the guts to actually say what he thinks, just like he didn't have the guts to say what he actually thought for the 4 years he was vice president. The dude is a grifter. The dude is a political opportunist. The dude got incredibly far while accomplishing absolutely nothing. And here it is, right in front of him, but he so badly wants to be president. And Mike Pence and the people around him still live under this delusion that he has a shot of being president, that if you really believe it, say it. He teed it right up for you. We all know what you think of him. We all know what you've thought of him from the beginning. Say it, and he won't do it. because he knows politically that would hurt him?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that was the right answer for him to give. And here's why. You can't have it both ways.
There was no answer.
No, you can't have it both ways here. You can't say that, well, we all think Mike Pence is really mean, and he had every opportunity to come out right now when Trump is in the fall. Trump is in free fall. If there's ever a time for Mike Pence to come out and drop the sledgehammer and just say, Trump's always been bad, and that was the moment that I knew he was irredeemable. And he could have smashed that hammer down, and it would not have drawn as much criticism as from those who already hate him. But instead, he did restrain himself. Now, am I saying that it was for moral virtue? No. Was it political? Probably. But I'm saying that in that specific moment, I think the riot was a bit much. Saying it was a riot, I was in the loading, it was a riot. No, not a riot, no. However, everything else in that statement, I don't really find a lot of issue with, because he's being offered the bait on a silver platter. Wasn't Trump that bad? And Trump's like, I wasn't in the White House. Oh, yeah, but wasn't he terrible? I wasn't. I was in the Capitol. You'll have to ask Trump. And then he's like, well, wasn't he? He's like, well, I think that'd be a question for the president. Now, the lilt in his voice does show contempt, but he had every opportunity on a silver platter to drop the sledgehammer. And instead, he just kind of left it more hanging than he could have. I'm not saying that speaks to Pence's virtue, but I don't know. I think that particular criticism is a bit much.
All right, let's take a break. Tony Kennett in for Casey today. Kevin's here. When we come back, we've got some great audio from Matt Gaetz talking about what needs to happen if you're going to clean up Congress. This is so good. We'll play it for you. Coming up next, 93 WIBC. It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
Tony Katz.
When you start going down this idea that the people you disagree with aren't human, the rhetoric, the dehumanization leads to disaster. It leads to violence. It leads to bloodshed. The people who want to scream anybody they disagree with is a Nazi, that's the dehumanizing. That's a real issue. I think everyone needs a bourbon and needs to calm down.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Earlier in the program, you heard friend of the show, Pastor Micah Beckwith. And when we say Micah Beckwith, we also think about Life Church. That's where Micah preaches. And the Life Church community, man, they are just outstanding. They're warm. They're welcoming. They would love to meet you and your family. This Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, consider Life Church. Life Church has campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, in addition to online services. Learn more at lifechurchin.com.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
At Franciscan Health, we're inspired by what moves you and how you move through life. So if you're suffering from joint pain and want to get back to an active lifestyle, Franciscan Health Mooresville and Carmel, home to the Center for Hip and Knee Surgery, is your best move. Our world-renowned orthopedic surgeons offer the latest advancements in total joint replacement, including outpatient surgery. If you're ready to get moving with less pain, request an appointment at centerforhipandkneesurgery.org.
Inflating prices aren't stopping anytime soon, and that kitchen or bath remodel you've been thinking about, if you wait any longer, it's just going to get more and more expensive. You need to be planning right now. Tony Katz for Boer Remodeling. Get in touch with Boer now to get on the schedule for 2023 and avoid some of those price increases. Boer Remodeling aims to be the finest remodeler in Central Indiana with the best materials and most skilled craftsmen. They'll guide you through the entire process to make your vision come to life. Boer Remodeling, BOOHER. Talk to BoerRemodeling.com to set up your free consultation.
Trust 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning to help keep your heater running strong. Call 855-1HOUR or visit onehourair.com.
Always on time or you don't pay time.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
It's B Windows Black Friday sale.
52% discount plus manufacturer's rebates and no interest, no payments for 18 months.
Trust me.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
Lighten up, Francis.
And Casey Daniels.
I want to party with you, cowboy. The two of us together, forget it.
On 93 WIBC.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did, Kevin. That's good.
Oh, I'm thinking ahead.
Yeah. Got a touch, right? Yeah. That's what Congress is. And Matt Gaetz, of all people, has some pretty good ideas on how to fix it. 93 WIBC, it's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Kevin's here. Tony Kennett from Chalkboard Review in for Casey today. So, okay, there's some things about Matt Gaetz that are a little squirrely. He's got some issues.
A few.
But I think it is safe to say that the United States Congress is filled with some of the most greedy, corrupt, underhanded people amongst our 330 million in this country.
I was going to do a fake gasp at that, but I couldn't even have the heart to fake surprise.
I mean, these people do things that if you or I did them, we would go to federal prison for.
You mean like Nancy Pelosi's insider trading?
Yes.
Or Nancy Pelosi's insider trading?
Insider trading would be the word I'm looking for. It's how so many of these people go in regular people, and despite making a salary that would give you a reasonable life at best in the greater Washington, D.C. area, they all come out millionaires. And it's how Bernie Sanders has, 3 homes, and you live the life you live, and all these people end up being rich. And it's why so many people fight so hard to get into Washington, D.C., is because of the life they can afford themselves, because they've rigged the rules in their favor to make themselves millionaires. And Matt Gaetz, U.S. Representative from Florida, has some good ideas on what the next Congress should do in order to fix this.
I believe that no member of Congress, by House rule, should be allowed to accept a donation for their campaign from a federal lobbyist or a federal political action committee. That money all has strings attached to it, and anybody who tries to tell you otherwise is lying. And when members take hundreds of thousands of dollars from lobbyists and PACs, they work for them more than they work for their constituents. And guess what? I intend to offer that amendment on the House floor in January, and I already have Democrats ready to vote for it, maybe even all of them. The second thing I would suggest is that if someone is a member of Congress, they should be prohibited from lobbying for life. Why is it so hard to say that you should choose one side or the other to be on? You're either in the law-making game or you're in the influence peddling game. And those who choose to be in the influence peddling game, go ahead, but you should sacrifice that when you get the privilege to represent 750,000 people. I intend to offer that amendment on January 3rd, and I expect that there will be Democrats voting for it. I will also introduce an amendment to have a ban on members of Congress trading individual stocks. How can we say that that is not something that dilutes our trust in markets and in governance when people are essentially able to bet on the outcomes that they have an ability to somewhat control? And I expect Democrats to vote for that. And finally, I would observe something that has really worked well in the state of Florida, a single subject rule. A bill coming to the floor should only deal with one subject. I was incensed as a freshman when I had to vote on the Farm Bill and whether or not to authorize war in Yemen in the same vote. And we can still have broad bills that relate to insurance or education or appropriations, but the notion that we lash all these things together does not serve our constituents and the American people. And I would expect, if we're in the majority, Democrats will vote for my amendment for a single subject rule.
I agree with absolutely everything he said. I agree with it 100%. And I also say there's zero chance the corrupt, awful people in Washington allow any of that stuff to become law.
Yep, that was 3 great points that he made, and those 3 things will all fall completely to the wayside. The individual stock thing was interesting. Again, remember yesterday I said that if you are going to run for office, there should be a personal sacrifice that you are making to serve the members of your community. It should. There should be no financial incentive to run for office. That changes the name of the game, and that changes the motives you will have while in office. It's unfair that congressmen and women get to write the laws that will directly impact the markets and then place their bets in a loaded fashion before those laws are passed.
Right, and it happens at all levels. I mean, again, this Thursday, I'm going to have to go waste my Thursday night at the Brownsburg Town Council meeting because these clowns who run our town, despite doing a terrible job and for no reason whatsoever, have decided, well, we're going to give ourselves $5,000 a year raises. For what? Well, it'll get better people to run. but you're going to be the one benefiting. No, it'll get better people to run if we pay more money.
Oh, yeah, sure. I've heard that argument in education, by the way, and that doesn't work because teachers consistently, good teachers, leave higher paying schools to take jobs at lower paying schools that have better working conditions, more supportive communities, and don't indulge in a lot of the garbage that the high paying schools.
Yeah, and it's like all of them but one voted for it for the first reading. And I talked to a couple of these people and I said, wait a second. There's no requirement that you have to show up to earn the pay increase. Right. And you guys miss a whole bunch of meetings as it is. Right. So how about we attach an attendance requirement like every other job in order to get paid? That's a great idea. We never thought of that. Okay, so that's going to be offered as an amendment. Yeah, we'll probably do that. Okay, and if it's about attracting future people to run, why don't you write part of the amendment that says none of you can benefit? Yeah, we should do that. I didn't think about that either. Bull, you didn't think about it. You got caught, and it's just somebody with a platform who caught you, and these guys probably won't offer either one of those things in the amendment, and they're just going to give themselves... My point is it happens at all levels of government. Everybody has their hand, it seems like, in the till because they can, because they think they can get away with it.
Well, they can get away with it, but I think my favorite part about what Gates brought forward there is that single subject line requirement. I hate more than anything. For example, HB 1134 in the Indiana House in the last season of our wonderful in-session time, I got to watch this education bill be cobbled together with all different kinds of provisions and ideas, and it was this big bloated mess because our state legislators don't want to just pass single subject, very basic 1 to 5 page bills that are easy to read, understand, and debate. There's no reason that we shouldn't have that. It makes every single bill live or die based on its own merits, not the strongest part of this bill and the weakest part of this other thing. These massive bloated bills are a great way to hide corruption, to hide ridiculous amounts of spending and bureaucracy, not to mention all of the massive policy changes that are going to impact millions of Americans that have nothing to do with the bill's title in question.
All right. When we come back, just for you, there was a fascinating back and forth between Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh on how rapidly wokeism has developed a stranglehold on this society. And we've got some Anna Navarro audio from The View being super demeaning to women.
Oh, what a shock.
It's coming up next. Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Does runaway inflation and reckless spending in Washington have you worried about the security of your hard-earned retirement savings? If so, it's time to call the precious metals experts at Fisher Capital. Fisher Capital specializes in helping investors like you diversify their retirement portfolio and preserve wealth with physical gold and silver. Whether you're looking to acquire coins or bars, open a gold IRA, or just want to learn more about the advantages of owning precious metals, Fisher Capital will equip you with the knowledge to make an informed decision that's right for you and your family. Call Fisher Capital today at 800-376-4333. That's 800-376-4333. Mention WIBC when you call to get a free no-obligation investor kit. 800-376-4333. 800-376-4333. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Don't lose another night's sleep worrying about the security of your retirement savings. Call Fisher Capital. 800-376-4333.
Hey, good morning. It's Casey, and let's talk about your retirement dream, right? You had plans to sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, travel, maybe go see the grandkids, but inflation and the recession has you wondering if all of your hard-earned equity is still going to be there. Well, here's a question. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in the home for as long as you want. And Truehold covers all of your property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do with whatever you'd like. So take that trip. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. It's the smarter, fastest way to cash out your home's value without having to move. It's Truehold.com.
Pat Sullivan here for Luminaire. Tired of your kids bringing the creepy crud home from school? Densely packed school buses with dirty air and poor air filtration may be a big part of the problem. A full school bus is like putting 200 kids in a classroom designed for 25. Luminaire's school bus system can solve this problem and provide a clean environment for our children. Let's give our kids clean air on the school bus. Learn more at schoolbusair.com. That's schoolbusair.com.
Check out what's going on with 93 WIBC.
Join us on Monument Circle for Downtown Indy Inc.'s 60th Annual Circle of Lights, presented by IBEW Local 481 on Monument Circle Friday, November 25th from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy this free, time-honored holiday tradition in downtown Indianapolis with enhanced lighting and video elements, outstanding live entertainment, a festive beer and whiskey garden, and, of course, Santa. Go to downtownindy.org/holidays to learn more. Cheers and happy holidays.
Don't wait until Gold Friday. Get revved up now.
Duarte in the corner for three. Too strong. Turner the rebound. Puts it in.
The Gold Friday deals presented by KeyBank have tipped off, and these deals won't last long.
McConnell again. Six straight.
Give it to him. Free Gold Friday deals presented by KeyBank are underway with Pacers tickets starting at just $5. These deals are limited and only available for a limited time at pacers.com/Gold Friday.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning. Robert Kirby says they sell the American Standard brand because American Standard listens to the techs who install and service their products.
We went down to the factory and they want your feedback. Being in the field, you can actually see some things that they could change on the product to make it better. And right there on the line, I mean, they actually take your input.
Call Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning at 317-892-3614. Kirby is your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Right now, buy 4 Ultimate Washes and get 2 free. Available online or at any Crew Car Wash location. Plus, get a free bonus wash now through November 30th.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What'll he decide? I'm Kirk Darling for Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Donald Trump may be making a presidential announcement later, the same day that several state governors are meeting in Orlando.
Former President Trump expected to announce his campaign plans a little bit later on tonight. Some governors have made it clear they still support the MAGA movement, while others say it's time for a new message. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he is expected to attend this year's conference. After all, it's happening here in his backyard. But we don't believe his remarks are going to be open to the press, which may allow him to sidestep some of those questions about whether or not he plans to challenge Trump in 2024.
Fox's Mark Meredith. An important measure of inflation is coming in lower than expected. The Producer Price Index increased by 0.2% in October. That's about half of what analysts were expecting. As for the year-over-year number, it went up by 8%. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Some great audio between Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh about how quickly wokeism has put a stranglehold on America. 93 WIBC, it's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Kevins here. Tony's here. Tony Kennett from Chalkboard Review. By the way, I'd like to point out you two are wearing very festive. I don't know if it's festive the right. No.
Festive?
No, it's not the right word. What am I looking for here? It's like a very upscale type of sweater. Like I wear a hoodie, right? They gave us these hoodies for work.
Yeah.
But you two are wearing very... It's like something like you'd see a dad at Thanksgiving wear. Like it's a Clark Griswold
We're dressed like
sweater.
yuppies. We're like yuppies.
Yuppies.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I mean...
it's the sort of the button-up sweaters.
The
ones
2000, the cardigans, the 2013 hipster look, I guess. That was in when I was in college, and so it's what a lot of us wore.
Very
and
fancy.
It's the same cardigan that I've had on.
Looks
it's
expensive.
from Kohl's. It's from Kohl's.
Oh, it's Kohl's.
Yeah, I shop the deals. Kohl's, Marshalls,
Really?
shout out. Really appreciate you making clothes not expensive.
You've probably never been to a Kohl's.
I've been to Kohl's.
You're very fancy. You're European educated, so
You're European educated. Gross. Oh yeah, Germany, right?
Yeah,
that's even worse.
Yeah, in Germany. But I've been to Kohl's.
Where do you shop at?
I mean, Honestly, like Macy's is pretty good.
Yeah, I knew it.
You know, if you want to get like something nice,
Yeah,
I'll
I
go
knew
there.
Walmart was not in his vernacular when it comes
Hey,
to
Walmart has
Farmar.
some good polos. Like just like for basic everyday wear, if you're going to be outside, but you have to look decent.
Walmart has upped its clothing game over
That
the
is
past
true.
several years. Yes, they absolutely have. All right. That was just apropos of nothing. Sorry for the delay on that. Let's get to this audio of Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh from it's Daily Wire, right? It's where Matt Walsh
Yes,
hangs out.
he's at the Daily Wire.
Having a great conversation about how wokeism kind of started as this thing that, oh, you're overreacting if you're objecting to it, you're making too big of a deal out of it. And within really less than a decade, it has now encompassed everything and everyone. Go ahead.
Well, when Jordan Peterson first started talking about compelled speech and compelled use of pronouns, I remember people thinking, like, why do you care about this? This is like such a small issue with a marginalized group of people. Like, let them have their identity and use the pronouns they want. And, you know, this is like, what was it, 2015, 2016? And I remember his warning, and I remember many other people like, this is going to spill over. Like this, if you can enforce this on a professor, and if you can enforce compelled speech, because Canada doesn't have the same free speech laws we do in America.
Yeah.
And if you can, like, where does it go? How are you compelling it? Well, it means through violence or through police or through the fear of being arrested, the fear of having your job taken away from you. Like, this is literally what happens when you use laws to compel people. Like, you have to have some sort of a punishment if they don't follow through, if they don't follow your orders. And this is what he was worrying about. And I remember at the time being like, I hope he's wrong. Like, I hope it doesn't get that big. But now here we are, 7 years later.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Because there's also a difference between telling people they can't say something, which is what free speech suppression usually is, and that's bad enough. But then telling people that they have to say something,
yes,
compelling them to actually say something, putting words in their mouth and telling them that you have to say this. And it's not you know, pronouns. It's not a small thing, because when you use the she for a he, you're not only being forced to say something, but you're being forced to affirm and acquiesce to a claim that you don't agree with. You're being forced to express a belief that's not yours. I mean, it's like it's not much different from a dictatorship forcing someone to profess belief in a religion. You know, it's forced conversion, basically, is what it is.
Yeah. I thought this was spot on, right? And you know, I think back 7-8 years ago. It wasn't something I was paying attention to. It wasn't something that was on my radar. But it's just like anything else the left touches. It must continue to eat, and it can never stop eating, and it hasn't stopped, and now it's everywhere in almost everything.
I started studying critical race theory at the graduate level about 8.5 years ago now. And 8.5 years ago, when I was sitting in on classes with Gloria Ladson Billings, because I was working in Governor Scott Walker's office in Wisconsin, I wanted to see how the other side viewed education. I was horrified by what I saw. I was horrified, and I believed at the time that it was still only relegated to the inner cities, and as long as I didn't teach in an inner city school, maybe it wouldn't touch me. It was a very young and naive thing. No, I ended up coming back to Indiana, and I saw the exact same garbage infesting small rural schools and every other kind of school they can touch, because to so many of these individuals, it is their entire religion. Everything in their life is based on the affirmation they get from preening and posturing over these nonsensical woke terms and this weird new hierarchy they try to build themselves. And it's pathetic. It is so sad to see an individual who has devoted their entire life to getting affirmation for using a specific set of pronouns or flying a specific color of flag or, you know, talking about how important it is to be a transhumanist, dog affinity loving helicopter. And I don't understand how, for so many, we just put on the horse blinders and said,
Sure.
oh, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening. It's just the, the slippery slope fallacy. Well, we're here.
Well, and think about what happened with you at IPS. And, you know, you had the audacity to come out and say, look, this is what you were a teacher at IPS. For people who don't remember this is kind of how you ended up on our radar, was you were a teacher at IPS. You had the audacity to say, look, this is what your kids are learning. Critical race theory is a thing. It is real. And IPS's response, because you had the audacity to tell people what their kids were actually learning, was not to say, yep, you know, we're doing it, and if you have a problem with it, I guess their school board elections do something about it. They shut you up. They threw you out.
Well, and it wasn't even just a case as though I was one teacher in a classroom. I was the science coordinator in charge of every science teacher in the district. And so I was in dozens of classrooms a week.
How'd you get that job? How, with your politics, did you get that job?
To this day, I still don't know. Like, there was a guy at one point early on when they found out that I was an education commentator. They were like, "Who? Not only does Tony need to be fired for tweeting out 'Rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh,' and that was an honest to God HR meeting that happened. But this math coach also said the person who hired him needs to be fired. How did this white man get on the staff?" And I was like, "Dude, go ahead and say it louder, I guess." All right.
I've been meaning to ask you this for the year and a half we've known each other. I've no idea how IPS of all places agreed to hire you. I'm thankful they did, but go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all. I mean, there was a time when I was really investing all of my energy and resources into trying to make education better. I wanted to get to a point where I was teaching teachers how to use data-driven methods. I know, crazy. Data-driven methods to be better teachers, to close some of the literacy gaps, particularly in the Hispanic community, which is something that I've always been very passionate about. And what I saw through the critical race theory framework was, screw Hispanic kids. They don't exist. They're not as important as black kids, except the policies that were put forward to aid black kids actually hurt black children more, hurt black families more, ended up hurting anyone that they touched. And whenever I pointed this out, it was hushed. It was quiet. "Oh, no. Actually, you don't understand because you're a white person. You can never understand this." It's like the kids can't read. What's there else is there to understand? The kids need help. We're not helping children. And so for Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh to kind of come to this consensus finally, and Rogan to admit, hey, it is that bad. Yes, some of us have just been saying this for 7 or 8 years. What else are we right about?
Yeah, and as a big part of it for guys like Rogan, and I think to this to extent of Bill Maher, and I compare this to, say, myself, not that I'm comparing myself to Joe Rogan, but I've always said what I've always said, and I've always been what I've always been, and there will come a point, like every other person who's ever been in this business, where the bell will toll for them. Either you're told your services are no longer needed, or you expire, or whatever. My life is not this. This is my job. I love my job. I love what I do. I love our audience. But I went into this business, I went into this job here saying, I will not change who I am in order to keep this job. So when the time ends, and I'll go. But so many people, it's like a Rogan. A lot of the people he hangs out with are the sort of people who could potentially turn on him. Bill Maher, same thing, right? Like, he helped create the monster. He is the Dr. Frankenstein in the equation, and they recognize if somebody doesn't get a handle on this quick, they're going to come for me eventually. And they tried with Rogan. They've already tried it once with Rogan.
Yep. And you're even starting to see this with Chappelle a little bit too. Like, Chappelle's recent shows have been getting more and more conservative in rhetoric. I mean, in his last show, he's walking around praising Trump for like a full segment of his show. And it's wild to see. But I'm interested above all of these things, looking at the individuals who are saying, oh, it's not happening, and they refuse to look at point blank evidence that suggests not only is it happening, but the individuals that are pushing this stuff around are now saying, oh, it's good. It's a good thing that it's happening. It's important that we're, segregating our children by race. It's important that we're cutting kids' genitals off. What a horrible place to be in society. Perhaps you should have gotten on the maybe it's wrong to diddle kids train sooner. It's wrong to sexualize children. It's wrong to racialize children. This is not a partisan issue. This is a bipartisan standard, or it should be a standard in this country, and it's not.
Before we get to break, I'm going to play this audio. It's from Anna Navarro, who is just horrific, and she was on The View, and I want you to listen to what she says about Republican women, and it's no different than the comment The View made last week about the roach spray. I mean, it's just, they are just so awful to Republican women. It shows they don't actually care about women. They just care about leftism. Go ahead.
I have to say I love Tiffany's dress. I couldn't pull it off, but that was beautiful.
Tiffany looks fantastic. They used to always come down on her as she was the unattractive Trump.
She was the one.
She was the cute Trump.
Mm-hmm.
She was the cute Trump.
I mean,
she
just
married an actual billionaire, not one that has to borrow billions from the Saudis. You see?
Maybe we'll see his taxes.
She's winning. Tiffany's winning. I think those Trump women look like a box of Jordan almonds.
So can you imagine if they had said that about the Obama women? Like if they'd have made an equivalent comment about them? I mean, again, keep in mind, just a week ago, Sonny Hostin said that it's like roaches voting for Raid, like women voting Republican. And yet this is okay and this is fine because you say it about Republicans.
I mean, this is a very common behavior for progressives. They say, progressives will call black individuals who vote Republican, they'll call them Uncle Toms. They'll call them a number of other horrible racist slurs. They call Cubans who vote for Republicans white adjacent. They take away their Hispanic heritage and say, well, actually, you're white. You're not even Hispanic. And you see this even in Indiana. So Amy Nealing, a failed Indiana candidate that got beaten to death by Tony Cook in that election in 2020, she has been going after all sorts of individuals on the Indiana right. She posted this meme portraying all women's crisis center volunteers as these horrible, ugly, awful people. I mean, this is just who progressives are. They like to claim that you shouldn't talk about how they look. You shouldn't talk about what it is that their appearance shows. But then they're the first person to go after anyone who votes for Republicans' appearance. It is the most base level of hypocrisy.
Tony Kennett in for Casey. Kevin's here. I'm Rob. When we come back, someone in the U.S. turned 115 years old. Can you believe that?
Oh, is it Nancy?
We'll talk about it coming up next.
3 o'clock this afternoon on the Hammer and Nigel show, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter in studio. We'll have a conversation about Delphi. 93 WIBC.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We've been in the same location with the same phone number for 27 years. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what in the heck do you have to lose? Call me at 317-435-1718 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-435-1718 or rragency.org. Don't let the federal government or their big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation. Get ready to have a blast of winter. Yeah, that next brutal blast of wicked, wild, and windy weather is on its way, and the only thing going down is the temperature. Heating costs will soar as much as 28% from last year, but you could cut your energy bills by up to 30%, increase your home's value, and get amazing savings. Call Window Nation today. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free with no interest payments until 2025.
Your new windows will lock out the cold, blocking even the smallest draft, and keep your energy bills lower despite their ever-rising costs. With 0% interest until 2025, you'll have plenty of extra cash for your holiday spending. Make your home truly warm, comfortable, and inviting. Call Window Nation today, 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Get 2 windows free with every 2 that you buy, 0% interest until 2025. 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Discover why over 250,000 homeowners say Window Nation is the perfect fit.
Come on, we're going to be late to the cookout.
I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese.
I hope you packed the Pepto, too.
Huh?
Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much. And after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs, you're going to need it.
Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too.
Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Helzberg Diamonds presents the holy grail of engagement rings. Michael was getting engaged and needed a ring, but not just any ring, the engagement ring. The kind that when he saw it, he'd just know. So Michael looked around online, asked friends for advice.
I want a ring that's special. One that's, you know.
You gotta go to Helzberg.
Michael went to Helzberg Diamonds, where he found an incredible selection of beautiful rings, settings, and both lab-grown and natural diamonds, certified and guaranteed to be of the highest quality. He also met Sarah, a Helzberg Diamond expert, who helped him find that special ring he was looking for, so that when his fiancée opened the box...
Wow, it's...
Yep, sounds right to me. Be like Michael. Find the engagement ring of your dreams at a Helzberg store near you or online at Helzberg.com. And right now at Helzberg Diamonds, take advantage of special financing offers.
What is the kingdom of God?
Pastor John Gable of Tabernacle Presbyterian Church in Indianapolis.
In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus offers a rather curious listing of those who enter the kingdom of God. The poor in spirit, those who mourn, the meek, the pure in heart, the peacemakers, and the persecuted, among others. It's an unexpected list that includes those the world often classifies as rejects and outcasts. It is this countercultural Jesus that we seek to follow at TAB, whose message runs counter to our culture of self-centeredness and self-absorption. How do we follow this Jesus at TAB? Come find out for yourself by joining us in worship or visiting us online at tabpres.org.
Tabernacle Presbyterian Church, 34th Street and Central Avenue in Indianapolis, invites you to worship Sunday morning at 8 or 10 a.m. If you can't make it in person, tune in to Sunday with Tab, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WIBC, or find us online at tabpres.org.
Amber and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
I mistakenly, during the break, told Kevin it was Neil Young's birthday, and then I realized the post about Neil Young's birthday was 3 days ago.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Kevin's like, no excuse needed to play some Neil Young. It's the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Kevin's here. Tony Kennett in for Casey. So we have an oldest living person in the U.S., and they just had a birthday.
Yay.
115.
That's old.
This woman, Bessie Hendricks is her name, lives in Iowa with 3 of her daughters. So they're like, one is 90. I don't know if that's the oldest or the youngest, but to have 3 living kids and you've made it to 115, those are some good genes right there.
I really like the moments when they start doing the interviews with this person and they're like, all right, what have you been doing, for the last 6 years? And if I ever get to be that old that someone's asking me how I made it this far, I'm going to make something up really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I eat pine cones every day.
Yeah,
like, just to mess with people.
Because there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. I saw this one person who was like, I have a margarita all the time.
Oh, I drink a Dr. Pepper all the time. And my doctor said I would die, but I outlived him.
Look, is there some benefit, obviously, to healthy living, not smoking, reasonable amounts of alcohol? Kevin, pay attention. Reasonable amounts of alcohol. Don't drink an entire case of Guinness in one setting. But by and large, a lot of it is just the gifts you get from God above. Because, like you said, there's some people who, I've never eaten anything other than fruits and vegetables, and they're, gone at 65. And there's some people
vegans are so sad.
I drink margaritas or whatever, and they're 100 years old. A lot of it is just a good blessing from the good Lord above.
That's right. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. That's my motto.
What is that?
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. I like that.
That's just for you.
She was born in 1907. There have been 21 American presidents during her lifetime.
That poor woman. That's just
yikes. What in the world is you like soccer? I know nothing about soccer.
I do. I enjoy playing soccer. I enjoyed like the U.S. minor league soccer.
Did you get booted out of the Indy 11? Weren't you something with them and they booted you out?
Yeah, they were very unhappy that I was conservative. They really didn't like that I was part of an affiliate group with them for a while. But
you weren't like on the team. You were like a fan of the team.
No, heaven no. I was just a fan of the team. Yeah.
And they were that mad that you were a fan of their team?
They have some people who are very, very, very to the left in the Brickyard Battalion. They all bring rainbow flags to every game. They're so excited about it.
Speaking of that, the World Cup is beginning here soon.
In Qatar.
Yes, of all places. And the U.S. has decided to be super woke, and they're screwing with the American flag on their uniform or the colors of what's happening?
So Qatar is one of the Middle Eastern countries in which it is illegal to practice homosexuality. It is illegal to do a lot of things that Western culture has embraced over the last 20 or 30 or 40 years.
But they got the tournament.
Yeah.
It was given to them.
Yeah. So
someone selected them.
Right. So they got the World Cup this year. And so the U.S. in noble and amazing and bold and heroic protest, they've taken the U.S. flag or the U.S. flag logo for U.S. soccer, which is a shield. And then it says U.S. at the top. And then at the bottom, they're like the red and white stripes from the American flag.
Our nation's colors. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Our flag.
Sure.
Well, they have taken those red stripes and they've changed them to the pride flag and then also a brown stripe because, BLM.
Oh.
So we're going to Qatar. And we got to tell everyone, guys, we're so proud of how we're going to lose in the first 2 games.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, USA is not good enough to make those sort of statements, are they? Like, if you're the best team and you're going to steamroll everyone, I mean, it's still ridiculous.
Then make whatever statements you want because you're the best. You can just say scoreboard.
Right.
But we don't have the scoreboard.
Why are we never any good at soccer? I was talking with you about this yesterday. What was the guy's name? There's always some great U.S. player that's supposed to be the next great thing. Freddie Adu. Was that his name? Am I right on that? Am I in the ballpark?
Yes.
Supposed to be the great player, and then that never panned out. Why are we never any good at soccer? Well, women are good at soccer.
You need. Well, I mean, unless they're playing men. Have you seen that? Like when the U.S. women's soccer team played, they scrimmaged a team of 15-year-old boys, and they got like destroyed 15-3.
That's a thing?
Yeah, and the same with the Australian team as well.
Men's soccer is that much better than women's soccer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, people always talk about, equal pay. Why don't, women's soccer make as much as men's soccer? And it's like, because, people don't watch it.
Yeah, right.
Anywho, that's another topic for another time.
Why are we never any good at soccer?
Well,
why do we
because
always lose in the first round of this thing?
Well, first of all, because many of these individuals play in very competitive environments their entire life. Like from the moment they are born, they are playing soccer against other people who are also going to be playing soccer their entire life. That is what they do. They devote themselves to it. We don't. There are other sports that take up the American what we watch. Soccer is growing in the United States.
I've been hearing that for 30 years. It hasn't grown that much because we still stink.
Well, I'm not saying it's logarithmic. I'm not saying it's a J curve and like tomorrow it's going to be on every channel.
It was everybody's going to be playing soccer in 10 years. And here we are, still losing in the first round of the World Cup. Nothing's changed.
Well, that's
Everybody
the truth.
be playing soccer. Football's a thing of the past. We're being 10 years old hearing that. Hey, great job today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, man.
He's Tony Kennett. That's Kevin. I'm Rob. Stick around. Tony Katz coming up next. Have a great day. You're listening to 93 WIBC.
The next time you visit your healthcare provider, we'll ask you about your race, ethnicity, and preferred language. Why do we ask? We ask because we care. Providing you with the highest level of care requires that we know all we can about you. Not only will this help us take better care of you, it will also help us learn more about our community and the additional services we can provide to keep Indiana as healthy as possible. This message is brought to you by Indiana University Health, Eskenazi Health, and Community Health Network.
Well, it's a great honor. It's obviously not the reason I volunteer, but it's nice.
Meet Chuck Bouillou, retired registered nurse, volunteer at Meals on Wheels, and another Jiffy Lube Do More winner.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Jennifer Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are rewarding Hoosier volunteers who use their vehicle to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
Satisfying that I know that at least that day they will get a meal, maybe even 2 meals.
Each month, Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides a volunteer free vehicle maintenance for a year. Whether it's someone who delivers smiles and supplies